I can't see Finnan.
I'm
Yeah.
just eating my
Yeah.
dinner, so I thought I'd leave the webcam off because it's
Yeah, you're
Oh,
not the
okay.
webcam.
almost
Fair enough.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to see that monstrosity, Luke eating.
Yeah.
That's all off.
Aidan, where's the song?
Oh, D and D, D and D, D and D, little baby. D and D, D and D, D and D for dinner.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
A few song
Super.
variation there. Yeah, she's good. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you got a beer there as well.
He's got a beer, he's got a baby, and he's got his dinner.
Got everything, yeah. Milk.
Beer, baby,
Beer.
dinner.
the only thing missing is adventure.
Mm.
Plate of
There you
dinner.
go, little baby.
Okay. First of all, is my microphone working okay?
Yeah, sounds
What?
good.
It's fine, mate.
Magical. Okay. Last we left off, you, our adventurers, had subdued a being made of rock. You slowly learn through subtle exchange in Dwarvish that this organic beast was created by dwarves of an ancient kind. A civilization long forgotten to history, the Dazoon. The more you learned of these ancient builders, you realised that there was limited knowledge. Folk tale and songs of old was all that you could reach for. This new being that you met and named Doomrock, you set him to work labouring on the tunnel that Zolkin's crew had started on in these foothills near Tribal. The place where this being had been trapped in an infinite sleep, where rock had shaped around him as mountains shifted and moulded around his magically empowered form. But you left him to meditate on the mountain. Hastily packing your bags, you've made your way and set off back towards Foundlin to deliver your updates to Tortellini, the leader of the Jam Pocket Guild. And that is where we will resume. 200 miles west of Tribor, nestled in the foothills of the Sword Mountains. You have faced several days of laboursome travel back through the grasslands. Untroubled, but no doubt sore asses all around from the journey. Now, Fandolin is bustling, a high-growth mining town fledgling with business centred around this enterprise that has been present within the town for several years now. And it is a stark comparison to that of Tribal. You find yourself in the hub of adventure, the place where you all came together to form your group officially. And you have been given a new task. A shipment awaits your delivery to Neverwinter. Little information has been given to you on your cargo, other than that the client is Gundren Rockseeker himself, the owner and founder of the Fandelver Mining Company. The Jam Pocket Inn, once was called, is now a bustling adventuring hub, and the smell of sour brown ale rings in the air, and the bustle of the Jam Pocket, this guild house, is growing as the day progresses. Now, last we left, you kind of all getting up to bits and pieces, but you would have seen different bands of people coming in and out of the guild, discussing different things of Tortellini. But you see one group of two humans, a half-elf and a tiefling, approach the bar, deep in conversation with Tortellini. They pass him a letter. They shake hands before the mustachioed, middle-aged operator of this establishment slams a bag of coins on the oak bar top, and they go on and get about their business. It is busy, and it is quite clear to you that you are not the only party that is coming to and fro from this place for work. Now, gathering in this common room, I'll say that you all begin to reunite, but I will leave that for you all to form as you all start making your way back to meet. Who is already in the Jam Pocket?
I'm not.
Unger is already in there. I don't think he ever left.
Were you with anyone?
Finn was hanging out for sure.
Hanging out with Finnan probably.
Okay.
Rash was still in there asking at the bar for someone called Derek von Cobble, and how to use him money.
Okay.
And Medica was tending his horse outside waiting for everybody to be ready, and he's anxious to leave.
Okay. Nubs, how about you?
I think I was in there as well, wasn't I? But I was basically just packed up and was ready to go.
Okay.
Right. Oh, sorry there. No,
Hey, Bud, how about yourself?
Abard strolls back into the pub with a chicken leg in his mouth.
Rash looks at that
West Point.
hungrily.
Gentlemen, chicken leg.
Rash abandons trying to find Derek. Goes straight over to Abard. My good friend, yes! So good to see you! Leg of chicken will be just fine.
Ah! Hand him over what is quite obviously a half-eaten chicken leg.
Rash eats
and
it and crunches the bones that goes down.
nice. Now we'll say that as you all start to kind of reunite between yourselves, that the this guild house is beginning to get louder. We'll say it's kind of it's middle of the afternoon at this stage. You've had around an hour or two of downtime since you arrived in Phandalin, and spoken with Tortellini. So it's getting louder, and now Tortellini has asked you to go to him when you're ready to depart. Is there anything that you want to discuss or go through before you start to move on?
Finnan crowds over to the boys and says,
Is
"Has anyone
it something
spoken
we
to
will...
Tort-" Wait,
Hang
what?
on, I think Finnan speaking.
I was just saying, has anyone spoken to Tortellini about what we've been up to yet, or is he still in the dark? Because I think we kind of maybe should possibly give him an update.
Yeah.
You gave him an in-depth update at the end of last session.
Ah, sweet.
Hmm.
I have been in the jam pocket for too long. Sweet. I mean, Finnan has no other business with Tortellini apart from a fond farewell and a see you later.
Is there anything else you guys want to discuss together?
Is this something that we'll be able to carry without assistance? We don't... Tortellini's been strangely quiet about this, hasn't he?
Sorry, is this a question for Tortellini?
This is a question to the general
To the
group.
party. Okay. Yeah, we'll say that you're all kind of sat round a table, making your last discussion points before you then do go to Tortellini to tell him you're ready to go.
Nothing to report from Ungo.
wonder if Nubs would want to show Tortellini the hammer and the seal that was on the hammer as well, like the pattern or whatever it was. It was like a sort of a hexagon inside it. No, it wasn't a hexagon, it was like a pentagon inside it. Something. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we
So,
got a
yeah.
picture of it somewhere.
Yeah, I had a picture of it somewhere. I've forgotten what it looked like now. But I think Nubs might give him a little sort of cursory ask, like, have you ever seen this before?
So we'll say then, if you are all done with your conversation together, there's nothing else you need to say. Approaching the bar to basically give Tortellini the signal that you're good to go. We can say that you show as you're kind of getting ready. You kind of cast it under his gaze. He looks down at it quizzically. And he looks back at you. I am afraid not. I am merely a chef. I do not know much about items.
Okay.
If you
No,
were...
Oh, sorry. No, I've had enough.
Eh,
No, it's fine. Don't worry. It's okay, lady. Don't worry. Says Nubs, just sort of giving it the.
Hurrying away.
Fair. He's like, oh, okay
You
then.
can fix it. Sorry.
No, he would have told you that if there was anything of detail that you would ever want to learn, then the library facilitated in Phandalin would be the place to go.
Ah, excellent.
The place in where we very first began, where we had the incident with Shemsheim.
Floating
Now,
brain. Thought he was
yes, and the floating brain, Ixal, the master of the tower. And that's
Cool.
who he'd probably refer you to go see.
Make little notes. Thank you.
So as Tortellini looks around at you all, nodding, taking you all in, are you ready?
Aye, Captain.
Indeed.
Good. Good,
Yes.
good.
I can't hear you.
Adventure. Oh wait.
Huzzah!
He kind of looks around and is like, yes, follow me. And he lifts up the side of the bar and starts to walk around a corner. I'll just remind everyone of the jam pocket. I know I shared it last time, but just if it is in the handouts. Fuck it, it's not. I can't remember where it is. But you remember what the jam pocket of the kind of handout. I think you already have it. But
Big money, big women, big fun.
Hell yeah.
exactly that. So you'd follow him as he kind of arcs around the bar. Now behind the bar is this large staircase, but he walks straight past that. He walks towards the far corner of the common room, passing the large staircase that passes around the back of the bar to your right. You follow Tortellini to a door, and he pushes it open into this wide square courtyard. The sound of birdsong and the clatter of hammer on steel and the smell of straw and horse manure pangs through your nose as it opens, and you walk out into this kind of square, stable courtyard area. There are stable areas where horses are settled in their own individual pens, going around this square. And at the far end of this courtyard is a narrow 10-foot wide archway leading out onto the streets of Phandalin. Now, in the centre of the courtyard is around a 20-foot long wagon. It sits in the centre with this arched canvas cover, but you can tell that it isn't just like kind of wire metal frame. It is a solid wooden wagon with a roof covering it, with a canvas over it, which looks slightly odd, as if it's trying to hide something. Not super obvious, but you've been around enough wagons and stuff in the past. Like, this is a bit of a bodge job put together. It looks far chunkier than a typical wagon. But on the side of this canvas cover is an emblazoned logo reading the Phandelver Mining Company. And as Tortellini guides you into the courtyard, he turns to you all and kind of gathers around the wagon. You are mining company employees. If anyone has the nose to ask, you are shipping a transfer of ores to the Tamaloon Trade House in Neverwinter. Nothing more. Now, I do not know who you will run to on the roads these days. Trade has run dry, but you never know. All that matters is that when you arrive in Neverwinter, you will head to a warehouse on the road of Blue Stream Street. You will notice it is marked with a red set of ox horns above the entrance. A large warehouse building. Knock on the door, speak the name that I gave, and I will leave it to you from there. Return.
Check the name of that mining company we're supposed to say that we're delivering this to, sorry.
Phandelver Mining Company.
At the Tamalon warehouse, I believe.
Ah, splendid. Thank you, Shamash.
That's okay. At least one of us is listening, eh?
You are delivering, if anyone asks, to the Tamaloon Trade House. You are in fact not going to the Tamaloon Trade House. You are going to a separate warehouse, of which I gave you, yes, earlier.
Yes.
So
wait.
we
just
go
go-
to the Tavern
you don't-
warehouse, but then actually tell
No,
people
we
we're
don't.
going to the secret warehouse.
No.
You don't go
No,
round
no.
the warehouse.
Ah,
We
shit.
tell the secrets to the warehouse, Nubs, because that's who needs to know.
We
I
go
wonder
up
if
to
a
the
warehouse
door and
is
say,
related
we're
to a
not ready.
werewolf.
So unfortunately, do this like just rubbing his eyes.
Yeah,
Where-
there's a moment where you're all just kind of saying all of this, and he just kind of like you just hear him mutter under his breath. Oh fuck my life!
My grandfather is my horse.
Actually got pretty good notes. I just want to play this up a bit. I think it's great. So, yeah.
So he kind of like stops you. Stop. Please, one of you, just one of you, tell me the instructions again. This
Everyone-
has to be done right.
So
Everyone
this packet,
asked
System's
warehouse,
pointing out, is the
but
dummy
nobody asked why house.
Our house?
Oh my God.
Unger crosses his arms and looks quite pleased with
You've been
himself.
sat on that one, haven't you, Charlie? You've been sat on that one there. It's a good point.
So with his tortellini, kind of looks at the large caveman of Unger Bungerson and blankly just kind of stares at him for a moment, and his gaze turns to Nubs. Please repeat the steps. One of you.
Just tell you what, just Nubs getting his little pen and paper out. So let's just make sure we get this right. Okay. So we take the packet, which is secret. Yeah. We say to anyone who's asking, we're taking it to the Fanderline, Fanderlinus.
Tamerlan!
No,
The Tamerlan, you...
On Maroon.
it's
Tamerlan
from the
warehouse, that's
Fandolin
it,
Mining Company.
We are from Fandolin.
We're from Fandolin.
We're in Fandolin now.
Yeah,
We say
We're
we're taking it
taking
to the town and warehouse, of course, but we're not. We're taking
Trade
it to
house.
the secret warehouse.
Indeed. So you take
Which is very secret.
this wagon
Mhm.
and you take it to the warehouse that I gave you. And when you arrive, you speak the name that I gave you.
You're giving us a warehouse?
You
what's the
no.
name?
You remember the name?
No.
Yes.
Wait,
Your name's
Ruhan Shockhand. Shockhand?
Yes.
And
At least you
Docas.
remember that. So, you will go to Blue Stream Street in Neverwinter. You will find the warehouse that is adorned with the red ox horns. You knock on the door, and you ask for Runod Shokad. If anyone on the road asks what you are doing, you are going to the Tamerun Trade House to deliver Vandelva Mining Company ores.
What are we actually delivering?
That is
We
on a
don't have
need
to.
to know basis. Not even I know. I was given this wagon preloaded, and he kind of guides you around the back of the wagon and opens the canvas backing that is pegged to the side. And it is like this a huge wooden box, like basically built as a frame on the back of the wagon. And
Okay.
there is a bolted door on the back of it. And he just kind of knocks on it, and you kind of hear this deep sound of the wood. It is a heavy, reinforced box. Whatever it is, I have been told that it is a precious cargo. So do not let it go into anyone else's hands.
We shall protect it with our lives.
Does the
Yes,
wagon
sir.
come with a spare wheel?
There is a spare wheel underneath.
Excellent.
So, do we need to go through it again, or are we clear?
Oh, we're going to make a beeline to Tamerlan warehouse. See you later. Tortellini.
Oh, Finn winks when
No.
Nub says that, like, acknowledging.
Just, yeah, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's also with a big wing.
Well,
Nearly had you.
While
Yeah, we know.
all this is happening, Medica is like one hand at the door handle. It's just going and like impatient child. When your mother is on the telephone and he's like, you just want to go.
All right. Well, he's getting fussy. Says Nubs, ruffling his
Ruffling his bald scalp.
his bold scalp. So we better get going. All right. Bye, Han. Sorry, I'm not doing. Yeah. All right. I think we. Well, sorry. It's you, Finn, and to lead, eh? Do we depart? Head out, don't we?
I believe so. Yes. Onward to Neverwinter and adventure, but keep your wits about you. These roads are treacherous. I'm gonna sit on the cart. Who wants to go up front?
Unger will ride up ahead as scout.
Nice.
Nubs
Abard
has
will-
already filled his pipe and is hopped on the back.
Abard will quite happily protect the door to the back of the wagon that we're supposed to protect to make sure that nobody gets at the valuables.
Abard's taking up the rear. Very sensible.
Okay.
Rash, of course, will go in the middle to the side of the cart.
Let's see. Medica is walking to his horse, and he gets on it. So he's riding his own horse.
Nice.
So, can do all of you know what I'm getting at with the wagon and the arch top or anything, or should I share an image?
Yeah,
Kind of
kinda
like
a-
a
Wagon.
Get a bit
Yeah,
of
like
a bit
a
of
Western
inspo.
style.
like a
style.
Western
Well,
style
yeah.
wagon.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
And create a circle of Indians attack.
Yeah. So, there are no horses attached to this wagon. So who leads and brings? Who is pulling the wagon?
Can I suggest not Medica's horse?
Finn and the horse
Is that okay?
can be there though.
My only requirement.
Yeah, Finn and Nubs should be like on the wagon, and their horse
Yeah.
at least in front.
How many
So we'll
horses
say.
are
So this would be pulled by two horses, one on either side of the main kind of I don't know what you call it, the
sticky bits?
Yeah,
the wooden sticky bit that pokes out the front.
yeah, what are they called? Don't know. Sticky
Dunno.
outfit. I know.
Who knows?
You know.
So we've got Finn and Nubs up front, kind of essentially driving the wagon. There would be enough room on the back as well as like a little perch, probably for enough like maybe two people. However, I know the rest of you do have horses, so whether you're riding your own horses to accompany it.
Well, neither Finnan and Nubs only have one horse between the two of them, don't they?
Yeah, true.
So we can put Shamash's horse alongside it, and Shamash can just sit on the back, whistling.
I mean,
I was
Abard will
thinking maybe Nubs would be sat on the little like bit at the back, so like sort of watching the rear as
Okay.
well. So if anyone comes up from behind, we'd know about it.
Okay, so we have Finnan at the front, and we need space for one more person up front with Finnan.
Shamash can sit up front with Finnan in that case,
Cool.
and then both our horses ahead of us, both our horses are within easy control.
Okay. So then you have room for one more in the back, if you don't have to, but it's more about everyone else on their own horses.
Yeah, I'll be at the back on my horse though, like guarding the rear. But I trust Nubs to protect the.
The only one without a horse is riding his horse, basically.
Where's Bung? Where's Unger?
Up ahead, scouting ahead on his horse.
I would say Medica is like the last one on his own horse, following.
So we got Abard and Shamash at the back.
Okay. Yeah.
No, Shamash
Sorry,
is at the
no, not
front.
Shamash. Sorry, Abard and Medica. Sorry. So
Yeah.
we have Unger. How far ahead would you probably travel?
200 meters.
Okay.
Actually,
And
Medica
Abard-
doesn't want to be next to Abad, so he's in front of the wagon now.
Imagining that he like pulls up alongside him at the back, and Abard's like, "Ah ha ha!"
Fellow man of faith, how is it
Watches.
going?
Watches Medica ride off and is like, well, good day.
So we have Medica either, I would imagine, in between Unger and the cart, or are you going to go up front with
really,
Unger?
no, really close to the cart, like let's say 10 meters in front or something.
Okay, fine. So kind of leading the horses.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then so we've got Abard at the back. Abard, like
Yes.
you're keeping relatively close to the car.
Reasonably close, yeah, with my lance out.
Okay, so we'll say like within 20, 30 meters.
Yeah, 20 meters away.
Okay. Cool. So, now, who is our leader?
It's
Unfortunately, it's me.
Finnan. Okay. Now,
Good dog.
Finnan, as you all kind of start to come together, you've all got a board on the wagon and everything like that. Do you have any orders or anything, any lines of command that you want to bestow on everyone before you do head off? Any rules of engagement, anything like that?
Abard America, stick to the door, as that's the clearest level of way to get in. That was a great sentence. Bunger, if anything happens, give us a shout, then circle back, maybe. But I'll leave that to your discretion. The rest of us, just keep your eyes peeled. And I turn to my horse, my faithful David Hasselhoff, and say, "Lead on!"
And with that, the horses just go into a very slow trot, and you start to kind of peel out of the stable, and we are on the road, passing through Phandalin. Now I should ask actually as we travel. So it is mid afternoon at this stage. We'll say kind of 3-4 in the afternoon. It is going to be a good few days travel up north to Neverwinter. You need to go west over to the coast initially, and then up north. I think it's roughly around 4 days travel, at a reasonable pace. Now you're obviously with Wagon, so it could take a bit longer if you fall into any setbacks or anything like that. But you're roughly looking at a 4 to 5 day travel. We will make the first few hours of travel, but in terms of general feeling amongst the party of making camp, anything like that, what's the instruction? What's the feeling of how you're going to be journeying?
Finnan likes the idea of going until it's dark and continuing a little bit, but trying to spot anywhere which will be good slightly off the road to set up camp. I don't really want to set up camp on the road with our precious cargo, ores or secret items, whichever. You wouldn't want that out in the open, in my mind. I'm open to suggestion, though.
Do we want to travel quite openly in the day in that little bit of darkness? Because Smash can provide sort of lights all around us, sort of dancing lights, just so we can see things around us. But that also means that things can see us.
I think save that for in case we suspect something's near, and then maybe light up the area in case there's anything sketchy happening.
Yeah, that's cool. So we're trying to take, excuse the pun, we're trying to take a low profile in this travel.
Of course, we are.
Hey.
But we don't want to appear like we're hiding anything either.
We have nothing to hide. We are simple mining folk taking mining stuff to a mining town.
Gravel.
And we clearly look like miners, don't we?
Yes.
Just
Yes, we
plain
do.
old gravel and some dust.
Finnan at that queue uses his glamoured studded armor to change into grubby mining gear.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Okay, awesome. So, I think we have a rough kind of view of the plan. Now, it takes a little while to get out of Phandalin. the streets are busy, and again, you really notice this difference between Phandalin and Tribal, where you've come from. This place doesn't feel like it's struggling whatsoever. You see an economy that is flowing. You see the logo that is emblazoned on your own car everywhere. The mining company has really kind of taken a lot of assets and is running things in this town by the looks of it. Now, you still see traders and different merchants and foodstuffs being sold, but it is distinct, like there is a heavy mining guild presence here. Now, it takes you a little while to get out of Phandalin, but it isn't long until you start to open out orchards to the west as you leave north of Phandalin. You would have learnt in your couple of days in Phandalin over this time that is the Edamouth's Orchard, a place for recovering criminals and addicts, where they go to make cider and various apple stuffs. Now, yeah, very good. It teaches them resilience and resistance and self-constraint. Yeah, exactly. So you start to travel northwards to reach the Tribal Trail before you would then turn west and trying to make your way to the high road. Now, behind you is the Sword Mountains, these kind of towering hills. To the north of the trail that you're following to meet the Tribal Trail is the Neverwinter Wood, which you've been in before. This deep ancient wood, and you're starting to reach. Well, we've already kind of talked about. You are at the very tail end of spring, starting to enter summer. The day is warm, and the skies are clear, and you often think that in these moments, this deep contrast from when you were in the Northern Territories, in Bryn Shander, where temperatures were low, and you kind of feel that, for those of you that like the heat anyway, feel that kind of warmth and comfort of, although that you are on the road you've been on the road for, in the grand scheme of things, in the last 20 days, you've spent more days on the road than you have in a bed. And I would say that some of you are probably feeling a bit of fatigue from that, to be honest. But depending on your background and everything, there's going to be an element where some of you are used to the wild more than others. But you travel on. At least you have a wagon now, some comfort, and your pace is somewhat slower. Now, on these first few hours, as you do hit back onto the road, what do you guys say to each other? You've been on the road for many, many days now, and there is potentially a party that awaits you on your way into Neverwinter. You've picked up more work through the guild. Is there anything that you guys discuss between yourselves?
Just watching his little legs, I'm imagining kind of like bouncing along with the wagon going along, with Nub sat on the back of the cart. Abard is just relentlessly telling stories from his youth and his time on the marches in Damara and telling him all about his family's history, and I'm sure he's absolutely loving it.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Like you are obviously all in your different spaces on like the wagon and stuff, so bear that in mind as you are having conversations. But yeah, sorry. Nubs.
Nubs is a bit of a dweeb anyway, so he's enjoying it. He's just stroking his beard and smoking his pipe, mostly listening, which is strange for a guy who's so chatty and full of himself.
Yes, and then I played poker with the witch. And
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah, he throws in a little like sort of affirmatives, like, oh really? Oh, actually, yes. Like all the time, sort of like things like that. Maybe not fully listening. Now that I think about it.
Finnan says to Shamash, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to getting back to Neverwinter. I do like that city and its comforts.
It is a good city with many comforts, isn't it? Now, you told me before you're from Methwood, I believe. That's not so far from Timantha, you know.
Really? I had no idea. I'll be honest, I only ventured towards and away from it
Yes, but let's
especially
go a
after
little further. Go
the
on.
unpleasantness.
Yes. Well, I spent a lot of time hiking up the Smoking Mountains, which is just south of Methwood.
Nice.
Obviously, Dread Thymar was a place where many of my folk lived before we had to leave that place. But yes, no, lovely. I went on some strolls in Methwood. It was quite the place, full of character.
Character's one way to put it. I never ventured into those mountains. At the time, I always thought they were too high up for someone of my height. But having been to the north, up through Mirar and Brinchanda, maybe I could go back one day.
Yeah, so Smoking Mountains are much warmer, of course. Partly volcanically active. That's why we love them so much. You see.
No good for mushrooms up there.
Yes, no, not much grows up there, sadly.
And every now and then, Thunder would be unable to control because it gets bored as well as his master, so it gallops along to reach Anga. And while that happens, Medica tries to make it look natural, and he starts chatting with Anga just a little bit, like, what is the largest thing you've ever killed?
Big fat mammoth.
Oh,
Yes.
how large is a mammoth? I've never seen one.
He like Uncle turns back to the caravan, looks at it, squints, says, like 2 caravan on top
Oh,
of each other.
all right, impressive.
Yes. Unga get kick when poke him in bum with spear. Unga lifts up his hide to show like a big scar going down the left-hand side of his chest.
Medica nods approvingly.
And then we push him off cliff and eat lots and lots of meat.
Good.
Actually, this from him. Unga pulls at his hide. He gave me present. I took present from him.
And so that was around the time that my father started his feud with the Otto family. And
Yes, you mentioned him, yes.
yes, this has been going on for many years. I, in fact, fell out of his son.
Yes, I suppose it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, great feud. Lots of bloodshed.
Yes, well, it's going to be some of that, isn't there? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I have an idea. You remember when we were in that goblin cave?
Goblin
Cave.
cave.
Sorry, I missed that.
Be precise, because we've been in several goblin caves recently.
One recently, damn you, man.
The most recent one.
You remember when we
With the pit.
yes, we
That's back in
We killed that-
Tribal.
yes, that's a recent one.
That was
Yeah.
in Neverwinter Woods.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Hobgoblin, Netherwind Woods, yes.
With the hobgoblins and everything. Well, we found that staff, didn't we? And you read from that book, and then things started blowing up. I
Yeah.
thought, wouldn't it be fun to have a go at that while we're out in the open?
Oh
See
my
if we
god,
can
what
make
a
it work
great,
again.
what a great idea. Finn rummages around in his bag and finds the staff and book.
200 meters
Actually,
ahead,
technically,
Unga
Shamash has
feels
got
the
the
hairs.
staff.
I was going to
tingling on
say,
the back of his neck.
you,
No, why?
Finnan, you only have the book, Finnan.
Okay. Maybe get the staff out, Shamash, as he gets the book out.
I've got it right here. Now, what we can try at first is I'll point the staff at things and you read, and then once we've got good at that, maybe you can have the staff and try reading the book at the same time.
Okay.
Now,
Wait,
I'll
what?
point it at that tree over there, and then
Yes.
you read one of the lines from the book.
Hold on. Let me find a suitable page.
There you go. He's got his staff.
Point the baby.
Pew, pew. Oh, too cute.
Let's try this one.
Smash is holding the staff with both hands, gripping incredibly tightly, pointing at the tree that they're going past. Hasn't told any of the others, by the way. It's just Finnan and Nubs who know about this.
So
Maybe
you're
Avard
just
has been listening for a second, which is doubtful.
Hang on, it's written in some old language. Just bear me a second.
Yeah, if you refresh your memory, that's fine.
And so then I said, trolls, thousands of them, because trees
Yeah, well,
and white,
you always get
white
more
as
than one.
snow.
It's always
Yes,
more than one.
yes,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
yes.
it's snowy, isn't it? Yeah.
hundreds, but we killed them
Yeah.
all. Yes,
Yeah, I mean, you can't leave them alive. Can't leave them
Yeah.
alive, says Nubs.
we were chasing them for 5 days in the route. Yes.
Yes, that's a lot of times. It's going to take time.
I lost
Meanwhile,
my
you
good
can
friend
find these things.
Nimbar.
Yeah, he'll be dead. He'll die, I suppose. Won't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got his leg, you see.
Well, that's the
Yes.
biggest bit, isn't it? It's the largest
That's
part.
that's why I wear these greaves. You know, every plate of armor is a lesson.
Yeah, well, it's
Out of
easy
nowhere, you hear Finnan muttering, "Kaf, Raf, Mugva, Aho, Shaha, Legaf."
and so Shamash, are you holding the staff still?
Holding the staff, two-handed,
Yeah, yeah.
pointing it at the tree, just like eyes wide.
So as Shamash, as Finnan starts to mutter these words, you kind of feel the staff vibrate slightly, and at the end, this orb, you see what were the kind of like almost like grey little flickers, like little like worms of light, tiny like thread worms of light moving around. They start to grow, and as Finnan gets further and further into this incantation, the ball of this orb starts to just turn fully green, and out of it, as you finish the incantation, Finnan, this green beam just shoots out of the side and connects with a tree just up the bank of the path next to you, and the tree bark just goes like into this completely charred black, and you see this hole just like blasted through the tree, and the leaves just suddenly turn from green, like this lush green of summer leaf, just turns into this grey brown as all of the leaves from the trees just drops down to the floor.
By the gods!
Would this make any sound?
Oh yeah. Like you hear the kind of wood just like crack open, and
Finnan returns
yeah.
Finnan raises an eyebrow and thinks, "I should remember this one."
Yeah. At the sound of that, Medica turns around next to Unger and starts galloping towards.
Sort of like turns his head like this, sort of.
And then he comes along like he's expecting an attack to the wagon or something. Like, what's happening?
Abard's got his telescope out and is having a look into the forest.
Thunder says Nubs, putting his hands behind his head again. I can help.
Right.
Well, that worked well, didn't it?
Well, no, Medica is just looking at both of them, at the staff and stuff, and says, "You know, you are dealing with some kind of death magic."
I don't know anything.
Death and magic are not the same thing. And then Finnan immediately starts reading some other random page. Five staff aboard.
Can Medica at this point cast a hold person on Finland? Like,
It's a mid incantation.
Yeah.
Medica just casts hold person. Make
Go
it
on.
Finnan. Make a wisdom save.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
And
Why is it
as you
full?
finish the incantation, this green black orb just like spits out of the staff, and this ball emerges around the wagon, and you just hear this for any of you around 20 feet within the wagon, I would ask you all to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, good.
Does that include Shamash who's holding onto the staff?
No, you are, because you were holding on to it. You're fine, and as Finnan is the word bearer, he is also fine.
When we started the journey, you were talking in metric, so I was 20 meters away. You've now switched to feet. My...
Wait,
Will not have it.
yes, sir. Gaming the system.
On the back of the wagon, so he's in for something.
So, Medica, you make the save. Nubs, you do not. And
What happens to my
you.
pipe?
Medica, you take what is that rounded down? You take 14 necrotic damage.
fucking hell.
Nubs, you take 29 as you feel this shock blast through your body, and you're like, yeah, almost electrocuted by this dark
Oh,
force
God.
within you.
29 damage.
can Medica try to right next to
Not
Finn
breathing.
and hit the book out of his hands with a warhammer?
So the end of Nubs' pipe just explodes as well.
Yeah, like
He
the Looney
bites the
Tunes.
I
rest
think
of it
Finn
out.
puts the book
Like when
away
gun
very
barrels, like-
quickly.
No,
whilst
no,
you're
no,
getting
no.
damaged.
Like, Medica is dead set on getting the book off you.
Nubs has now rolled off and bounced off the back of the wagon, unable to. He was lying down. He didn't know what was coming, so he's actually bouncing down the road currently.
So still looking off into the forest with his
Spooky.
telescope, Abard is now going, so yes, 26 years we were fighting the necromancers, and ever since then, the family of Helmsdale has been sworn to fight blood magic, death magic, any form of the dark magic. Have to be vigilant for it at all times. You never know when it might strike.
As
And I'd
he-
imagine as you finish those words, your horse then tramples over Nubs' body on the ground.
Sigmar's ball!
and you watch towards the wagon, and you see Medica basically choking Finn, and like, why you little?
Nubs
Ash
makes
is
a
just
save.
staring at the
Horse
staff like, my god.
Yeah, it's not going to take more damage from the horse tramp.
No, you get a +2 on your saving for it being trampled by my horse because you're within 5 feet of me.
I'm gonna throw for that. And is that a dexterity save or just?
Yeah, we can say it's, well, in fact, yeah, I guess like you would just have a hooves attack,
Constitution.
Abard, right?
Yeah. Hang on.
See whether he makes the.
Hit me with who?
I would say at a disadvantage because it's not an intentional attack, but yeah, you're fine. Nubs. You managed to roll out of the way as Abard like almost trods you to death, twisting your head out of the way as the hoof just like impacts where your face was just
Bill
was.
really sort of fucked up. Yeah.
Like Merry and
Like
Pippin in the camp.
Marion. Sorry, Pippin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, boys, I'm gonna have to call a quick break because my daughter has just started playing a harmonica in her room. So let's take 5 minutes and we'll pick up there.
Get on the whole.
Bardic
Mine's
inspiration.
filling as well, so that's good timing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little glass of wine then. Have you got a
sweet.
Betty Beach? I can say.
Oh yes. I've
Fucking
got
piss,
spirit.
Oh, I'm gonna get Henny's.
I would mind something. I don't have any more beer stuff, but I might get a little glass of wine then.
I'm going to go for a piss.
Nice.
Could just run over to the offie, but that'll take maybe 10 minutes, so we'll do that for the big break.
Yeah.
Don't think we can. Can't risk it. All right, BRB.
Cool. See you in a bit.
And a baby.
Oh.
I want that cider tonight. Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Hennies from Throne Valley.
Love a bit of cider.
Hmm.
Book spell text generator.
Lovecraftian
Ah, nice.
Dunganese translator.
Sweet. Why is that? That's weird. I put in touch my trouser snack. And it's Abthnik, yeah, trouser snack. It's not got like a proper translation.
How do I spell? I put beans in it, and it just said beans like halfway through all these like Cthulhu words. I was like, yes.
Oh man.
Athbanak, yeah, trouser, azana.
Oops, that's the wrong browser. There we go. Not muted anymore, am I?
Looks
No,
like,
good.
It's all good.
there's a
Quite the opposite.
there's a
No.
fucking barrel of wine coming up next to me, and there's fucking fruit flies trying to get in there everywhere. Fuck's sake.
Oh no!
Oh.
Where did they come from?
I-
Like it's the middle of winter and they just find.
Yeah.
They come.
got-
I read about them. They come like if you buy fruits and like bananas and stuff. They have
Right.
little eggs on them, and when
Mm.
they get into your house,
Oh,
they
God.
hatch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Well,
People
it's
used
true
to
what they
think in the
say.
old days that maggots like spawned out of like meat.
Yeah, out of-
They had no idea how
Yeah,
they got
yeah,
there.
given
Yeah.
enough time, they would appear like from thin air.
Yeah,
yeah.
they thought that. Yeah.
And once they get in here, they'll have like, of course, a circle. If you have even slightest amount of food, they will lay eggs on them. And like
Yeah.
one little fly can lay 400 eggs at a time.
Bajillion eggs.
Yeah. So
That is
you
some fertile fine.
so you basically have to like keep cleaning for like a week straight, just with strong like detergents and stuff to get them off.
I'm going to show you the streets with the snow, but you probably can't see shit.
That's okay. I can see.
Oh yeah, nice.
A wooden house.
Yeah, by golly.
Mm.
It's actually not snowing anymore, but I think it's going to start snowing pretty hard again.
Yeah, it's gonna come
Nuts.
here, and like next week it's gonna be like -15, -20.
Shit, bro. We get snowed in.
Only -2 in London today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice
it's
and
pretty
warm.
cold.
Yeah, it's
Been
-4.
minuses here.
Yeah. Canal was frozen this morning.
Sam said -2, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was frozen. Nice.
Oh, -2. Ah, yeah.
-2. Well, guess what? It's been -2 here,
Yeah.
Sam. It's the same I did with Graham, to be fair, when he said 30 minutes and said, no, more like
That was
12.
funny.
I thought he said 13. I don't know why I thought he'd been super specific like that. So it's something he knew about that film.
We might get some snow next week, mightn't we?
Yeah, sweet, boys.
Amy
Literally,
has
I'll be
only
there,
seen
it's awesome.
snow once in her life and is very excited about the prospect of it snowing.
Nice.
Well,
Wow,
that's one
only
thing
one.
about
How
British
old is
snow,
Amy?
it's always disappointing.
30, but she's Australian, so
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So basically like a 3-year-old for the rest of us.
Effectively, yeah. But
Yeah,
not
yeah.
legally, and that's what matters.
That is what matters, isn't it?
Just reiterate that, Sam.
I gotta get that in writing, please.
What are you saying?
Don't worry.
It's
Uh,
fine.
We've got video evidence. Don't worry.
We got
all-
video.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
all
it's
being
recorded.
all being
Just watch
recorded.
it.
Trial.
I'll literally just watch the recording back tomorrow.
Time point
All right,
is-
When
Okay.
I would like to continue because Medica is quite upset that he is being hit with the death magic, so he tries to take the book
Understandably.
of Finnan. What does Finnan try to do?
Finnan, seeing Medica half burnt by this necrotic bullshit, and is somewhat startled by him, sees him coming for the book and instantly thinks, no fucking chance. I'm keeping this, it's too good. And you said you were choking me, right?
I'm coming at you at the moment, yeah, because I would have to.
Okay, sweet. In that case, I point at Medica and say, not another step closer, or you'll regret it.
Medica does not hesitate; it just keeps coming closer.
Sweet.
Rash uses mold earth on the floor in front of his horse to trip over his horse.
Nice.
My horse. Let's see, what save does he have to make?
I don't really know. This is more RPing rather than anything else.
Yeah, it's not really a save. He's moving it in.
Basically, moving like a little pile of earth out the way in front of you to trip over your horse.
It's within a 5-foot range. So it doesn't say how much you can mold. Oh, 30.
30 feet away. So I'm assuming just in front of him or something.
Yeah. It doesn't actually deposit it up to 5 feet. Yeah, it doesn't say how much, but
Yeah.
it doesn't say how much you'd move it by. But there's
Nah,
I would say
5
let's just
5
say
feet
with
cube.
5 foot. Yeah, 5 foot cube. I'd say in this instance it would probably be a dexterity save to try and avoid the earth. The earth kind of pushes you upwards, and thunder kind of rears onto its hind legs. And I would ask you to make me a strength save as you try and cling on to the back of thunder.
Oh,
I would say you're already attuned to this animal. So I was in my head I had a 10. If you failed a 10, you would have fallen back. You managed to just hold on. But I will allow Finnan to make the next move of whatever's going to happen there.
I'll just warn Medica not to get within, I don't know, 5 foot of me. Just stay back. That's all I tell him.
Medica keeps coming closer, and he says, "You have no idea what you're doing with that book. You are a danger to us all. Lose the book. Give it to me."
Finnan stashes the book. I'm assuming you're like really close to me now.
Yeah, like within 10 feet.
Cool.
Like
I
full
stash the
losing.
book in my bag and I go, "I warned you," and then use wild shape to turn into a gelatinous cube again.
How large is the gelatinous cube, and do you turn into it as you are sitting on the wagon?
God.
Oh,
So in my mind, I'm sort of diving towards Medica as he's approaching me.
Okay,
So I have movement
Swan
on me
dive.
on my side,
So the
and it is a
gelatinous cube is moving.
large. Yeah, it is a large large thing.
Okay. Okay, so you transform into the gelatinous cube and you're going at him.
Yeah.
And
to
I would
try.
say that you're acting with advantage based on the fact that you've seen him coming. He's already been blocked once. So are you trying to engulf him in the cube?
You're goddamn right.
Literally, 'cause it's called engulf.
Cube move there.
Oh my god, wow.
Well, I would say it would slow down somewhat in air based on the change of the weight and the velocity of which Finnan was originally jumping, but I'd say it's enough to move 10 foot and be within, because you then also expand in size to a large object. So I would say that you are easily able to get within Medica's range to try and engulf him. So Medica, roll a dexterity saving throw as this gelatinous cube kind of like, you see Finnan just kind of lunge off the edge of the wagon and mid-air transform into a gelatinous cube, and you see it come towards you.
And also... Oh, my
I was going to
horse makes
say,
sense
also
about-
roll me for Thunder, so explain to me how you and Thunder managed to
Like-
get out of the way.
I would say because Thunder has a higher dexterity save, I cannot roll the saving throw, so I have to do like that. But it instinctively knows that something is coming towards it, so it basically hits the brakes and changes the 180, goes backwards a couple of like feet to get out of range, and then turns around again to face the threat.
Okay. Nice.
Ah.
So you kind of almost like, I would say, as you kind of move out of the way, the edge of the gelatinous cube, as Finnan expands into it, kind of pushes you out of the way slightly anyway, but you manage to maintain your footing. Now, Finnan, as you remain as a gelatinous cube, what do you do next?
Okay, I told you, and then use a pseudopod to like smash him with like some gelatinous like fist.
God.
You would be within range, so does a 17 hit, Medica?
No, it does not.
What?
Mind you, Nubs is still dead on the floor at this point.
Yeah, just another question actually. Given Shamash is sitting right next to Finnan, does that mean Shamash just gets absorbed into the cube while he's sitting there?
I think
You're okay 'cause I jumped off.
yeah, Finnan jumped off
okay.
towards
yeah,
me.
Finnan jumped. Yeah, Finnan leapt off the side of the wagon.
Finnan leapt. Would that have been backwards to where Nubs is lying on the ground, prone after being holding up by the
I would-
I'd imagine
Medica
Finnan is lunging forward, kind of. If you imagine the
I
wagon
think-
like that, he's gone there. Shamash is here. You're at the back.
The fact that Abad ran over him, he's like 60 feet away from
Yeah.
this paddle. So
We like the idea of Shamash just being the cool, sucked in with it,
Yeah.
like halfway through a sentence sort of thing.
Abad, quite intrigued by the sounds of battle, has ridden over. He's not doing anything, but he's just observing.
Yeah, Unga Bungston at the front has just turned around and be like, "What the fuck?" and sighing.
And one
galloping
last
back
question:
down
is the wagon still moving?
yeah,
Assuming it's just
who
shouting it
who
out.
is actually
I would-
controlling the wagon?
I would say
Well,
that's
the
up to
Shamash is-
Shamash.
Yeah, Shamash has
Oh, Shamash.
realised that the thing is a bit too powerful. He's put it down by his side, just focusing on the horse or trying to sort of cover the
most
staff to
low
make sure
profile.
no one
Whoa.
sees.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Calming
Bringing
the horses
explosion, a
down.
massive gelatinous cube, and we're trying to keep a low profile.
Also, would the horses have been hit by the necrotic damage as well?
Yeah.
they
20
would've-
feet.
Yeah.
6 meters.
Yeah.
No? Is it? Yeah? No?
So both horses are dead.
Not necessarily.
yeah,
What was
My horse hasn't got that much health.
Oh,
Yeah, my
shit.
horse has got 13 hit points.
Yeah, your
Wait.
horse is dead.
okay?
How do you know
so
your
we-
horse's
we-
HP?
should
Can
be
have
a
anywhere
standard.
extras. You've got a large beast. So I've got a
Ah,
riding horse.
sorry. My hoof wasn't named. He wasn't named David Hasselhoofs. He's Keanu Hooves now.
Well, he's dead.
But he's also dead.
so actually, yeah, it's a really good shout of ruling. During all this chaos, as Shamash is trying to slow the horses down, he doesn't actually realise that the horses have just been in a death slump as they are both falling to the ground, and that's just
no.
what's been.
Just, like,
well, that's what.
melting off their faces.
The reason the wagon has stopped isn't down to Shamash's prowess with horsemanship. It's actually the fact they've both died and fallen face forward into the dirt.
My horse is barely alive.
That was an expensive horse.
Yeah. Don't have any horses anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was.
No. What will? How the fuck?
I'm
Well,
gonna gallop beside the
Abad
wagon.
sat on
What
top
the
of his
fuck happened?
immortal spectral horse coated in chainmail armor, just like pats it firmly on the neck, like, good
Like,
boy.
I would say I use an action because I saw Thunder take a hit. He's on his last legs, basically. He jumps off Thunder and orders it to go on the sides. Like, fuck's sake.
So, Finnan, as you stand still as a gelatinous cube in the middle of the road, what do you do?
Also, bonus action, I heal my horse with the healing word. Ah,
Okay.
nice.
Finnan,
Am I still in range of Medica?
you were within 5 foot of Medica, yeah.
Sweet. It's my book.
Oh, okay. What happens on a critical fail?
on a critical fail, I would say actually as Finnan as the gelatinous cube pseudopod is that I don't really understand. Is that like a fist or
Like a-
something kind of comes
like a
out of the?
blob.
It's like
Yeah.
a melee attack weapon. It says. So I imagine it's just like some blob comes out like.
means
Blom.
So-
8 foot. So it's like
so-
it's like
So Finnan, correct me if you think I'm wrong here in this, but I imagine that as you turn into a gelatinous cube, all of your belongings in your inventory is kind of floating within you as the cube as you
Yeah.
transform.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You see all this shit just kind of like if someone was looking at you, you'd see like a cloak, some shoes, just kind of floating around. But also the book that you've been holding on to, and as you go with your pseudopod, as you try to like bash out at Medica, the book flies out of the side of you as a gelatinous cube. It pieces Medica in the face and knocks him down onto the ground, but he does manage to cling on to the book as it flies out of you.
See. Seeing Medica with the book on the floor, I panic, and I don't know if I can do another action directly or again, but I want to try and engulf both of them to like try and regain the book back into myself, as well as Medica.
I would say if we're kind of ruining it slightly as initiative, and the fact you've just rolled a natural one, I would allow Medica to make one action before you then make another action.
I would basically use half my movement to get up with the book, and trying to be as intimidating as I can. I cast Spirit Guardians. No, that damage roll isn't necessarily. It rolls when Finnan starts his turn. But yeah, the 15-foot sphere comes along me with the like a floating, sparkling lightning around me.
Just
Okay.
imagining a fly on the wall looking at this caravan at the moment.
Yeah, and imagine I'm
Gelatinous
imagining you're only like half an hour out of Fandolin, and this has already happened.
barely
already a
out.
fucking firework display.
We've already almost
And
killed each other.
Yeah, and you can see like a vein on Medica's forehead, pumping blood. Angry as hell. And basically, that's my turn to cast a spell that makes things go around me.
Okay.
I'm
Finnan.
still going to try and engulf him because I have advantage on fear checks or scared checks. How do you describe it?
Intimidation.
Well,
Everyone
I would
fears the gelatinous
basically, if you want, allow me to roll the intimidation, and then you roll something like charisma saving throw with it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I have advantage on. Wait,
Yeah.
saving throws against being frightened is the.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
I would say though, technically though, the save is still wisdom based on the fact that
No,
if
no,
he
no,
comes within your radius.
No,
Wisdom
that's
and advantage.
no. That wisdom thing is for when he starts his movement, or there's an attack. Then my thing works.
But that's what he's saying he's going to do is come towards you.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna
then
engulf. Engulf you and my book.
Okay.
So Finnan, you need to make a wisdom saving throw as you come close to Medica.
Is that advantage because he's trying to scare me, or?
No,
No, because he has a radiant sphere.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you take
Half.
8 radiant damage.
Electric.
Electric, sorry.
God damn. Wait. Does he still have to do my thing, or was that like nullify
So
my attack?
you can still roll engulf.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh my god, that acid damage.
Fucking hell.
Jeez.
Just gonna look.
Medica roll a dexterity saving throw. Wait, that's advantage and disadvantage rolled in one, right?
I
No.
don't.
Oh, he
No.
shut up.
No, it's not.
One and
Yeah,
2d6,
if he
one was
engulfs, he takes the
66.
full 28. If he
Oh,
doesn't,
so one's
I think he takes
interior,
10.
one's exterior.
So he takes 13 damage if you just touch him, but if he does successfully get engulfed,
Oh wait, sorry. I've read this wrong. So he takes 13 damage initially. If he doesn't escape and it gets back to my turn, he takes
yes.
the 28.
Oh, I remember this actually.
Oh my god, you guys are gonna TPK each other.
Oh god.
Nubs is basically out.
I
already,
just
mate.
like the book. It's chaotic and it's totally my vibe.
Abard is just trolling his horse over to Shamash on the front of the wagon and hands him another chicken leg. And
Oh,
dexterity.
oh yes.
Nubs
I'm-
brings himself.
I'm
to
gonna
his
make
feet,
a
still has some
Medica
life in him,
use
so-
a.
I love the fact that Abard almost just stampeded Nubs to death and just left him in the dirt.
Yeah.
He's there. He stood up now.
I'm
He's a
gonna
ranger. He
I'm-
can handle the wilderness himself.
I'm gonna use an inspiration to roll for dexterity save.
Oh my god.
Oh!
Yes!
Oh!
Oh wow. Medica, you take 41 damage.
Holy
So wait. So I
no,
take
no,
13.
No, you take 13 initially. If
Yeah.
you don't escape from the engulf, you take an additional 28.
That's
How
so
Mega.
how do I
So-
escape?
Finnan, describe to me as you start to engulf Medica.
You know, like on Futurama, where there's like jelly things like that, and you saw that sort of sound. It sort of just like envelop Medica, like not fast, not slow. And you sort of see him fighting and struggling. I imagine raging out. You also need to. You actually need to roll for your horse, actually.
No.
No, the
I've
horse is-
horse
the
is
horse-
sent away.
Leave
Horse
the
is sent
horses
away.
out of this.
Horse is
Damn it,
sent
my
away.
horse is
He-
dead.
he-
I want more horses.
No.
He did move away from the
I
horse.
specifically said I jump
he
off
did,
my
he did.
horse and sent him away.
Yeah,
did,
so
he
yeah,
did.
you
He's
are
an
right.
action player.
Yeah, I sort of like imagine you start looking like Han Solo in like Carbonite, like raging out, suspended in
Wait.
this goop, as the
Does anyone
book
remember that-
separates from your hand into the gooey abyss.
Do you remember that Simpsons parody of like the Islander where Hans Moment gets like absorbed
Yeah.
by that? Like,
Yeah.
oh, like, and he's like, ah! Imagine maybe like that. See if I can find that clip for you.
Yeah,
Sorry, Mel.
So,
just that
that's fine.
So I would agree in that the book is separated within you.
Are you? Are you? I have to make some kind of a saving throw because I'm grasping the book.
Okay, I would say make it at disadvantage. Make a strength save at disadvantage because you've just taken 13 acid damage as you're engulfed by this, and you are limited in terms of your movement. The book peels away, and you feel like I can't explain how it works, but Finnan is a cube of. I would imagine like the jelly of him is like muscle. There, he has millions of muscles within him, and he is able to peel it away as if invisible hands is peel it away from you. He can flow. He can control the flow of how everything moves with the cube if he chooses to, and he peels the book away from you. Now, Finnan, what do you do?
But wait, how do I get out of the thingy?
So on my
So-
go, you have to make a save throw, I think.
So let's make the throw now.
Yeah, so let me just read this right. On a failed save, the cube enters the creature space and the creature takes first but lot of damage. and it's engulfed. The engulfed creature can't breathe, is restrained, and takes 21 or 66, which is the 28 acid damage on the start of each of the cube's turns. When the
Each of
cube
the
moves,
start?
the engulfed creature moves
Fuck
with it.
me.
The engulfed creature can try and escape by taking an action to make a DC strength check. On a success, the creature escapes and enters a space of its choice within 5 foot of the cube.
You can post it on chat as well.
Now look, I would say like what is the strength save he has to make?
It's 12, so technically he could have escaped with that book saving move.
No, because he
No,
did it at
that's
disadvantage.
But that was
Alright.
just a book. That was just
That
the
was
book.
just for the book.
Yes.
Yeah, but if it is my go, he does take that 28 damage.
I would say that he would look.
He
You
gets
guys
to have a
are
roll, surely.
you are friendly here.
I would say maybe somebody
are
step
you-
in at this point
Are
because
you?
Are you trying to
Hey, hang on. Are you truly trying to kill Medica in this instance?
Or just choke him out and say, it's my book.
Okay, then Medica takes 28 acid damage.
Fucking hell.
How much damage is Medic taking?
I die.
Medic's lifeless.
And
inside.
what do you do with his unconscious? So you don't die.
No.
Full
My
uncon-
body
slip into
dissolves into nothingness.
Yeah, he's been dissolved. We
So
have
so
to all try and kill Finn.
so Finnan. Now, you would drain. You would be able to at least anticipate the fact that Medica has slipped into an unconscious state. You have that control. You aren't trying to kill him. You are trying to disabilitate him. So, what happens to his? What you were trying to, whatever the word is. What are you? So, explain to me what happens next now as Medica essentially slips into unconsciousness within you.
Oh, like I sense the threat has gone. I've recovered my book. So I sort of like push him out of my body, like excretion style, like and he would drop to the ground. And then I go I turn back into myself and go, I fucking told you. You'd regret it.
I feel like
Handing-
Finnan would be completely butt naked after turning into all of his clothes and other things. He's still
Dissolved.
holding onto the book.
Still a bit slimy and greasy himself.
Yeah. I start like dressing myself and just go and sit back on the cart as if nothing's happened.
I would say Medica is like he is conscious, but he's like fucking out of it. He's just laying on the ground, basically like holding on one of his hands, and tries to be threatening, but says, "If you ever use that book next to me, close to me, I will kill you."
Abard handing his chicken leg back over to Shamash. Just trots on
Crashes.
over
You think?
to Medica and grasps his outstretched hand and gives him 30 points of lay on hands healing.
Okay.
Unger's just dumbfounded just at what's been happening. He's still on his horse.
I feel like Unger was just like a little way off, just watching it all as well.
Yeah, he was surprised when because Medica was next to him and just rode off fast and furious, basically.
Like Finn at this point is sort of like looks like a sulking like kid who's trying to have his toys taken away from him. He's got his arms forward like, meh. Like my toys, not having them.
And Medica heads towards Thunder, trying to calm him down and heal him as much as he can.
Okay.
Look, you just get kicked right now.
Yeah,
He
you-
says
you-
you're weak as nukes.
You've tuned enough to Thunder to not have to roll animal handling every time you get on him.
Oh,
Thank goodness.
Shame.
Yes. Sorry, Nubs has got up and he's just managed to make his way back to the wagon now because he was a bit further. You know, obviously the wagon rolled for a little bit after he'd fallen off.
All the horses
He
died.
walked around the side to see Samash and he sees the two dead horses lying in the front of of the wagon.
Not just dead, like mutilated by death. magic.
Mutilated and melted, yeah.
Yeah.
They're full of just
horrific
scars and like the like lungs coming out of their bodies and
Not a good way to die.
I
Yeah,
think,
no,
Finn's
the
starting to
magic
come
is
out of
the
his
magic
book
is
rage
evidently evil.
and acknowledge and notices
This
Keanu
What
Hooves is
happened?
dead, and starts feeling bad.
maybe he realizes why Medica was so upset.
No, just feels sad. That... I don't know. I like to think the chaotic nature of the book like appeals to Finnan at like a core level. The fact it's unpredictable is exciting, but like in a way, like he doesn't want to give that up, even though it is apparently deadly.
Is it like the one true ring? Like
Yeah, I guess it may lean that way eventually, but it's definitely he's definitely at that yeah stage.
Got a question. Kind of similar to Harry Potter, can Unger sense death magic in a way from that massive scar on his back where he took a bolt of death magic? Like tingling from death
That's a
magic.
really good idea.
Remember, Unger got knocked unconscious by death
Yeah. I mean, why not? Yeah, I mean, you would. I would say every time that a spell was cast from the staff, you would have felt this kind of weird feeling within the wound of where you were impacted before, kind of like I don't know if any of you have ever had it where you feel like there's where you've had a bad injury, like in your bone, and when it gets cold, you kind of feel that ache, that kind of throb. It feels like that, like you feel this like deep throb within the muscle and the bone in the area where you were hit. It's not like a piercing hit, it's just like this deep throb to it, which kind of makes you hold it as if it's like a weakened muscle.
Okay.
Abard looking on at the desolation of our mounts. Can I check if I recognise that as being necromancy-ish death magic?
I love you just looking at these like horrifically mutilated horses.
Do I need to check if that's necromancy?
This looks like natural causes. No, I want you to check. So
Yeah, roll me an investigation.
Can I do a history? On
You're
the
like,
basis of
like
the-
a real guard from like.
Let me guess.
Yeah,
Somebody
must have
saw
been
your street roll.
Yeah, you should just say it. I was going to say, choices must have been the win. Must have been the win.
Looking at the wounds on the horses, this isn't something of just pure magic. This is something that is disgusting and putrid in the way that it's just unfurled parts of the body of these horses. These are no natural wounds. These are deep, dark magic wounds that have inflicted them.
Abard looks kind of like shiftily to the side. And he looks at Finnan, and he remembers 40 gold. He's not entirely convinced he lost correctly. And then he thinks about getting struck by lightning while fighting a massive stone golem not that long ago, where he nearly died. And that kind of dwells on him for a second. And then he looks down at his signet ring that's got a picture of a bloodstone from his family's past fighting necromancers. And he looks down at Medica and is like,
Okay. So after all of that, you start to come back together, I would imagine, as a party, slowly figuring out what the fuck do you do next? You're 2 horses down, you've barely left Fandolin, you've got another 4 nights on the road. What do you do now?
"Oh, Finnan, any ideas?"
I turn to Shamash and go, "It's all your fault."
At this point,
And well, I
Nobs
would
is
be
gonna
so
just-
hasty.
I feel like Nobs is going to lay into like both of them, like sort of verbally, and in
Now,
a very
I think rather than dwelling on the past, now we need to move forwards. Clearly, we need some horses to pull this
Now
wagon,
we're
don't we?
going to move
Now,
forward, and
sadly,
the horses
an
are
accident-
dead.
Sadly, an accident has befallen the horses when we were trying out the magic, but we've got more horses. What do you say, Unger, Medica?
Nope.
How's your grandfather looking? Hey, Bard.
Stays with me.
I'm afraid a duke does not pull a cart.
Yeah, Unger looking at the mutilated corpses of the horse, just goes, shaking his head.
And Medical looking at Finn and says, Thunder isn't going near that guy.
Nub strokes his beard and thinks to himself, yeah, I think I have a solution. So, smash cut to a scene with both Finn and Shamash pushing the carriage from behind.
We rigged them up to the ropes.
Rigged him up to the ropes. Nubs is just sat there with his pipe. Goes like, come on, boys, it's going to take all day.
Where there's a whip, there's a way, boys.
That's right.
Oh my god.
I guess the thing is, are there any inns nearby? Perhaps we should send Abart, for example, to I don't know, ride ahead to look for an inn and then bring a horse or two he can wangle back.
I
moving in
believe
that direction.
I've sworn to protect this wagon.
Your quickest way to get more horses is for someone to ride back to Fandolin.
Perhaps, gentlemen, horses are not the answer. Finnan?
What?
You got us into this mess.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Monkey
you would think of a
boys!
solution.
Finnan thinks and goes, yes, maybe it's for the best if we get out of here rather than fight over this this book. It's intriguing to say the least. And at that point, hang on, let me just check.
Yeah, you could turn into a big dumb oxen or something. Even you could manage that, you numbskull. You still look a bit pissed.
How long does that last for?
I was gonna say, what's the length of that?
I'm just seeing
5
how
minutes
far
or
I
so.
can eke it out. Cause it,
If you can get us to the
each
next
spell
inn or
would
somewhere
spell.
where you can buy a horse.
I'd really rather not have to go back to Fandolin, lads.
Yeah, I don't want to face Tortellini and be like, yeah, so the horses are dead.
Like, oh my god, who attacked you? No one.
We attacked ourselves.
A madness came over us from a book we possess.
He's also going to cast his heal himself.
A six level druid can wild shape for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's it. Summer.
How much
What about your
conjuring?
summons?
Yeah, summon animals.
That'll get us to like the tribal
An
training.
hour for each spell.
Fucking monkeys running in front, pulling the wagon.
How many spell slots do you have?
That'll just get us
3.
further up Shit Creek if we keep.
Yeah, because we'll be further away from town.
Yeah,
Lads,
but if you have 3 spell slots, you can cast it 3 times, so that's 9 hours, right?
no, that's for summon. For wild shape, there's only there's one left because I used one to turn into a cube to attack him.
Oh, good.
He did try to take my book. That's what I'm saying.
How long does the summon
I
last?
did not try to take the book until you fucking almost killed
Yeah.
Nubs and
I
me.
don't like travel sessions, they're so uneventful.
Yeah.
But Andy was like, it sounded like you wanted to get this travel out of the way. Let's get them to
Yeah. God, words on
Yeah.
words on
warehouse, get
words
them
on
set up.
words on so much prep, and here we are, almost an hour.
There's been a large amount of shit
I
out there.
was like, having 2 weeks off to prep has given me so much shit to do, and here we are.
Yeah.
I was just
mean,
hoping this
we'll
could be a
get there.
little. I was hoping
Guys.
it could just be a little event to sort of build up the
I-
travel section.
Well, I'll tell you what, lads. I will fix this, and I'll fix this out of my own pocket. Tell you what. How about? It's bound to be getting late by now with all the unpleasantness.
Gone that far.
Who said what and
Been on the road
zip
like
zap
half an
zoo
hour.
with this spell or other.
For half an hour.
How about you set up camp, and I'll go get us some new horses from Vandalin on the sly, like to save any embarrassment from the guild.
I mean, you wouldn't have to go to the guild to go get horses. Like,
That's
Fanlin's
what
a
I
big
mean,
enough
I just
place to
wanna
go
do it.
find other horses. Yeah.
Get into town on the sly, bring them back to the boys as a bit of an apology for the madness, and of course, naturally out of Finnan's pocket, which is something he begrudges dearly.
Okay.
He's never been rich until about 2 sessions ago.
Okay. So let's say this then. So with Finnan having left the wagon, you'd have enough horses to be able to move it if you wanted to, or do you not want to? Do you want to literally wait in this spot until Finnan comes back?
I think let's drag it maybe off the main road, which is where it will be, just to the side or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I owe Shamash a horse, right, as well.
Yes.
There's no other dead
Prize
horses, just to
stallion.
make sure.
It was
Just
like
a
prize
horse.
stallion, wasn't it?
It was an extremely expensive horse, yes.
I believe we half-inched it for free, though, so...
Oh, we did, yeah, no, I
Yeah,
know. Which Smash will just take any old nag to keep him going.
yeah, well, I'm going to try and aim a bit better than Nag, but we'll see. We'll see what
that'd be
Fandolin has.
Finn's going to come back. So, I've got some horses, but there's a few peasants dead. In fact,
We need to go, now.
Yeah, right.
No, forget the cargo, we need to leave. Yeah. Set fire to the wagon.
No, this is a legit low-profile operation.
do like an orange glow on the horizon. The entirety of Fandolin is just aflame.
We
I've
can't go
just
back
decided
there.
to leave the
It's
party
gone.
at that point. I'm going home. Going home.
The jam pocket's gone. Just keep walking.
Okay, so
Sorry.
if you guys are happy to do that,
Yeah,
Finnan
we'll-
will
Yep.
Finnan will summon with one of his summon creature spells a riding horse, and head back to Fandolin to require.
He's gonna ride back into town on an ape.
It is tempting, but a horse will be faster, and I kind of want to get this embarrassment over with. So I'll haul us back to town, get some fresh nags, and
We've
come
pushed
back.
the wagon aside and covered it in trees and sticks
Yeah.
to hide it.
I'm assuming, because I don't want to mess around, I just go to the. Yeah, I assume there's somebody selling horses there.
Yeah. So look, let's say this. You pull the party pulls the wagon to the side and finds a place to camp down for the rest of the afternoon. You've already delayed yourselves by a number of hours, and this puts another night onto your travel. Finnan, you ride down to Fandolin and are sheepishly kind of making sure that you avoid anyone that you think might be guild affiliated to make sure that no one passes rumour that you're back in town. You would manage to find a stable on the outskirts of town near the orchards, Edmath Orchard. Now, I'm going to say, look, you're pretty desperate. You need to make haste on your journey, and you get charged full. And the going price for a good horse is 75 gold.
How much again? 70?
75.
75. I tell him I want the best horse you've got for my friend Shamash.
He asks for 300 gold.
Ah, maybe not quite the best. Just a bit below the best. Like, B-spec, it's all the good stuff. without the
middling
main
horse.
thing.
he points to another which looks just as good, maybe not as muscly or as young, and he asks for 120 gold.
Perfect. Done deal. I'll take the cheap one for 75 for me, and 100 and whatever it was for the other one.
120, so 195 gold in total.
He hands over the coin purse begrudgingly and goes, "I've got to go. I was never here," and runs off with the horses.
You can see my
Several
nose now.
several hours later, the rest of you who have made camp, kind of in shock, I would imagine, hear the thud of of hooves as it starts to make up to the camp. Begrudgingly, Finnan passes you your new horse, Shimash, and I would say that you
thank
make
you, my
camp
good man.
for the rest of the evening. Now, with each night, I would ask, who's taking watch, and are you doing anything in particular in the evening?
Unger would like to take watch. He'll
Um,
be keeping the fire ablaze and doing a little bit of wood carving as well.
Do we do like shifts, because Medica is like he's tending his horse like oh no, shush shush shush, my dearest, and he's just doing like just making sure it has everything going all right, and he's like well up to the night, just awake. So maybe he wakes up Unga when he's like halfway through. No,
Yeah, sure.
Unga can look the rest of the night.
Second watch, yeah, I'm going to take second watch.
Yeah.
Okay,
I say to Shamash, his new horse's name is Foaling Around, and mine is Philly the Kid.
Rolling around, nice.
Foiling around.
Very good.
Really cute.
I would ask both Unger and Medica to make me perception checks. Seven. You look out into the night sky. It's a clear night. You listen for any sound of people off the beaten track. Given the fact you've had to drag the wagon off the side of the road, you are pretty close to the road. The night passes seemingly fine. Nothing grabs your attention. It's just the beginning of summer. The stars are out, and you observe the constellations as the moon passes over the sky. You awaken the next morning, having all rested. Unger and Medica, you wouldn't have taken long rests. You'd have taken shorts, but the rest of you can all take a long rest.
Excellent.
Bloody needed one.
Now, I'm going to say, for the sake of brevity, you will make your way back onto the road. Back into the same positions of which you took originally. Is there anything you say to each other before you do hit back on the road?
So Shamash goes to Finn and say, maybe we should have another go with this away from the others, away from some horses and stuff, eh? Next time.
I sort of nod
Unger
and say,
says to the rest of the party that
I don't
Shrek
know what came over me. It was quite something. So I don't want Medica to know we're discussing the fun magic book.
Yeah, Medica is ahead of the wagon again, so he doesn't.
I run up and catch up with Medica and offer him a ration and say, I'm sorry. Please accept this as an offer of me not hating you.
Medica rides on, just, and goes away.
At some point during the
Feeling good.
day,
More for me! And eats his breakfast.
at some point during the day,
No
Abob's
apology
gonna
for nuts.
ride up to Medica and tell him at some length the story of his family's history with necromancy and how they are sworn against it.
Yeah, Nubs has fallen victim to
Just being in the
Avar
way.
has just treated Nubs like a throwaway.
Yeah, indeed.
friend.
I think you'll find I did not crush Nubs under my hooves. He was fine.
Didn't. Right.
So, back on the road, yeah, you power through. You realise the time you've lost
Yeah.
You haven't been
Make
given
it,
a
yeah.
you haven't been given a deadline for your task. You've just been told as soon as possible.
This is Medica
Um,
looking at Abad when he says about necromancy and how it's bad.
Now, back on the road, you make haste. You start to speed along, and the wagon moving quickly underneath the fresh feet of your two new steeds. Now, the grassland quickly turns into coastline. It isn't long until you start to reach the Sword Coast. The banks out to the west become sandier and thinner in terms of the grass, and far out you can see the Sea of Swords. The sun bouncing off this deep blue sea, the sea that you travelled not too even long ago, only a month or so ago. You were travelling these seas with Matt Caliban on the Moon Maiden, and all the time that time where you battled the Swagwin. And Abard, I imagine you kind of like holding on to your sword slightly as you look out to the sea, thinking about the origin of the blade that you now possess. You would make camp for your lunch and eating your rations on the way. I'd imagine your pace up on the road, and you would pass north as you reach this kind of junction. North lies Neverwinter on the high road, and you follow this road that you've trodden quite a few times now. It's familiar to you. You pass through these different valleys and wooded areas. It is a varied landscape, the Sword Coast, and it isn't long until you kind of get through this kind of first section where hills start to rise. Out in the far distance, you see the smoke of Mount Hotenow, north of Neverwinter. Further, you see this plume of smoke, gliding off eastwards over the wood, like a sliver of this smoke. The day passes, and it's not long now until the sun begins to dip. You've ridden throughout the day, and it has indeed been a long day. You've been travelling for so long now. You chose not to stop off in Phandalin. You chose not to take the night of comfy beds. It's been over 10 days of camping in the rough. And although the cold of the north, where you've spent a long time, is gone, it's warmer now. The ground is hard. It's not a comfortable place to sleep. And adventuring is most likely starting to grind on some of you. Especially when you're lying as you might pull a wagon or your horses to the side and you're lying on this the roots of trees poking your back. And to be quite frank, you've had very little privacy over these, well, the months of traveling now with each other. Very little moments of that time to yourself. And just quickly, as you make camp tonight, I want each person to just give me like an inner thought that they have in their mind. It doesn't have to be long, just something very quick of what is your character thinking right now as they rock up to another campsite in the dead of night, trying to find somewhere to camp. We can start with Abard.
Abard, who at this point smells like a bag of dead cats, settling down to another uncomfortable night, is just thinking about his father's castle and nights seeing his father putting his feet up in front of a fire, having a whiskey late at night. He suddenly feels deeply sad. Isn't what's happening right now.
Okay. Nubs, how about you?
Nubs is still a little bit resentful of Finn's behaviour. He's thinking, oh, he's a good. I mean, he is a good droid, but my God, sometimes he's a fucking liability. He's like, it's probably the lack of nicotine. He says he's like scratching himself a little bit. He hasn't smoked his pipe now for a few days. He knows he can get a bit grumpy when that's the case. So he's not convinced of this, but that's his main thought. Roughly, God, I'd fucking die for a puff of my pipe. Ah. Yep, that's about it.
How about you?
Anger and frustration.
The normal.
Like Medica.
Okay.
Yeah, the regular.
Just a little bit
Fair.
more than normal.
Shamash, how about you?
Rash is somewhat surprised and fearful at the feelings that came over him when he saw Medica's what he thought was corpse lying on the ground after Finnan had, acid attacked him. The feeling of, yes, finally, I can use my powers. Even though Medica is technically his friend, and he feels very conflicted about the feeling he had within him and is feeling a bit unsure in himself.
Okay. Finnan, how about you?
Finnan's contemplating the consequences, but also weighing up the fun and unpredictability of the book and staff combination. But in the meantime, he thinks that's not for a job for whilst we're out in the wild, and uses his druid craft to try and work out what the weather's going to be like for the next 24 hours on the road.
Okay, interesting. So, how do you do that? Do you look up to the sky? Do you put your hand down to the earth? How do you imagine does?
I Professor X style put my hand to the side of my face and then go and then lick a finger and just put it up in the air and sort of just walk around a little bit going
Yeah. In your mind's eye, you receive the signal of blue skies. It is clear that you are really peak of the end of spring and into summer now, and the season changed over the last 2 or so months that you've been traveling. You're in set for another day, a good day.
I predict to the lads, I think tomorrow is going to be a better day, boys.
Rash laughs and uses thaumaturgy to make a rumble of thunder in the distance.
It's like, "Ah!"
Replies with, do it again, outcomes.
Unger, how about yourself?
Unger, as he potters around in the bushes nearby the camp, appreciates the simplicity of being on the road and nature. He thinks about Neverwinter ahead and the big bustling city, and can't shake the feeling that he doesn't quite belong in this world.
Interesting. Okay.
If we ever have a session where Unger isn't the most profound member of the party, I will raise my hat.
It's deep.
Deep.
Okay.
It is.
Now, you're all familiar with setting up camp at this stage. You've done it so many times over. You work almost like clockwork. You all have your roles, and you get a fire going. You set up your beds. Some food is cooking. One of you may have gone hunted some food, strung up some rabbits, and made a stew, whatever it might be. It varies from night to night, I would imagine, but you all at least have your roles in the party. Now, I would ask again tonight, who's taking watch? What is the protocol for this evening?
Unger's always going to volunteer himself for watch. He likes being
Rash
up.
will take a watch. You know he's got alarm to keep him safe if he dozes off.
Okay. Are you taking watch together, or are you taking it in turns?
Taking it in
Probably
turns.
turns.
Okay. Who's first?
I think Unger will take first watch.
Okay. Unger, make me a perception check.
Oh. Hmm.
Now, the evening is still relatively young. The sun went down an hour or so ago. We'll say it's getting close to midnight. And on your watch, what are you looking at?
Kind of looking out towards the sea, and just the stars starting to poke through the twilight.
Okay. Looking out to the stars and to the sea. Your watch passes fine. You go and awaken Shamash at the end of your watch, and Shamash, you take over. The rest of the party now at this stage are in deep slumber, and Unger puts his head down to go to sleep. Roll me a perception check as you start to take your watch.
I perceive
Well, a gif interrupted it. With a natural 20. A few hours pass if you watch. Probably around 2, 3 in the morning at this stage. Nothing really seems to happen for a while. And as you... What does Shamash do in his moments of watch? Does he just sit and... What does he do to keep himself kind of engaged?
Well, he twiddles his thumbs. He tries to read through some of the books he has with him, using the sort of spell light just to sort of keep himself amused. Basically, just sort of flicking through pages, looking out, taking in the sights, but yeah, having a sort of quiet old time.
Okay. Now, we'd say that the place where you've taken camp is a little way off the path, but still within view of the path of where you were traveling. And Shamash, you hear hooves out in the distance. Very distantly. The night is clear, and there is very little to interrupt your hearing. And I'd say your hearing as a Dragonborn is pretty astute as it is.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the deep thud, like the bassy tones and the slow vibration of what you must recognize as hooves. And it brings your attention over towards the path, and sounds like they are running at pace. What do you do?
So they're running at pace, coming towards them. So where is it? So Smash does a sort of create bonfire, just sort of on the path near him, just to make sure they're aware that he's there. And uses thaumaturgy just to shout out, "Who approaches at such speed?" Smash is not being subtle. He does not do subtle.
Okay. So you're putting a bonfire in the road where you've been traveling, right?
Just the side of the road, yeah.
To the side of the
Basically
road. Okay. So as the hooves rock up, you see illuminated by the bonfire on the side of the road 3 riders approaching. Now they're within around kind of 30 foot of your bonfire. They're traveling north as you were, and you hear the kind of neigh of the horse. They are stopped within the side of the road, and your voice booms. Sorry, can you just repeat what you asked?
Said, hey up there, who goes there at such a pace at such a night?
On such horses.
On such horses?
There is a
Angry
moment. There is a moment of quiet as these you note 3 horses illuminated in the bonfire in the light, and they stop as they obviously all hear your voice boom through the trees. And I would imagine you're kind of like 20 or 30 foot elevated on this bank up from the path. They don't reply initially. You kind of see them maybe speak to each other for a moment. But the rider, at least that you make out, is in front of them, in the front of the 3. Kind of looks up to wherever they believe that the voice is coming from. And says, "We are just traders traveling north.
Who
Is there
trades at
any
this
issue?
time of night?
We make
There are
haste."
Sorry, we keep interrupting each other, don't we? You speak first.
We make haste to Neverwinter.
What business have you in Neverwinter?
Purely trade and conversation with our betters.
Then
I must
come,
ask, we must move.
share the fire. Conversate with me. I am your betters.
They kind of speak amongst themselves as you see the riders. We must make it to Neverwinter by the end of tomorrow. We must ride fast. We do not have time to stop.
Tell us what trade keeps you at such a pace.
Urgent orders. I may not share the detail, I'm afraid, without knowing who you are. Who do you work for? And what is your name?
My name is Shamash Cabradon. I am a miner of Phandalin, escorting ores to Neverwinter. But
Then I
I am
have
affiliated
no-
with some other organizations as well. Pray, who are you?
My name is Arjan Tempokades. My journey is with the Tarmaloon Trade House. I must get there tomorrow, as I say. I have some urgent news to deliver to my peers.
Why, we are on the way to the Tamadin Trade House. Tell me, whom do you work for?
You hear a pause as, again, the riders begin to discuss with each other, obviously checking things with each other. We have information for our superior, Nelkin Danica. We make our way to the Tarmaloon Trade House to deliver the news as urgently as possible. I'm afraid I may not give any more information than that.
Okay, well, before you're on the way, one final question. Do you drink at the Jam Pocket?
The Jam Pocket of Phandalin.
Aye.
I can say I have not been there for a year or so.
A shame. You miss out on some fine ales. Be on your way. Perhaps we shall see you in Neverwinter.
Good luck, my friends, with your own journey.
And you...
May we beat in better circumstances when there is not so much haste required.
Aye. Fine friend.
I wish you the best, Shamash Cabradon of the Fandelva Mining Company.
And
Godspeed.
you, Enjan. Arjen.
And with that, the riders move on slowly at first as they kind of look up to where you've been stationed and they hear your voice coming from. Now, with your initial perception check, I'd imagine that you're probably hanging around, scoping them out for a while as they pass. And you have astute vision in darkness.
Sure do. You astutest.
You try and make out the silhouettes of the strangers on the road. You find it hard to really pick out the looks exactly of each of the riders. The first looks relatively slim in build. The middle is weightier, bulkier. But in the back, a shimmer of moonlight lights up his face. And with a 20, you recognize this something familiar. You don't know what, but there was like a flash of greasy black hair that you recognize. You can't exactly piece it. But a familiar build and a familiar characteristic amongst them. But they slowly trot off and move onwards. And so I would say the rest of your watch passes uneventfully. Now, as you awaken, the rest of the party, as the sun rises, is there anything to discuss? Anything before you make it back on the road?
Are we able to take a piss break?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet.
I think Finnan could do with reforming his ways.
That's all right, man. Don't worry about it. Finn
I
and
don't
B
know.
like Finn and B, yeah.
He loves a chaotic thing and a chaotic book.
He is a
He is
man.
chaotic. I don't know. I've got an idea which might be cool for the book. My worry is it will fuck up lore Andy's planned.
Mm-hmm. You never know. You use it how you use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
Yo.
mate, salt and shake is like the fucking stupidest fucking idea ever. As in, like, salt and shake crisps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, you're obviously going to go full salt.
Yeah, if you're gonna, yeah, it's like, so you can put as much as you like it. So yeah, all of it, right?
Yeah.
More cookies, Charlie.
Oh yes.
You're having a good night. I respect this.
I wish I had some cookies.
Mate,
Yeah.
I don't know how you can eat sugar at night.
Yeah. Stick it in the mouth, chew and swallow, I guess.
Yeah, it's not far off.
Charlie spends about 9 hours a day in a gym.
Yeah, that's true.
It's also, yeah, it's also, yeah, that makes a difference, right?
Yeah, that probably makes a massive difference.
About
Yeah.
as much time a day as it takes us to get from one location to another in D&D.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like how we play D&D in real time.
It's
Yeah.
when this campaign has been like 2 months of
Immersive.
real time, and
Yeah. Yeah, however many months of like actual.
I think it's good though. Like from my
that's
perspective, I am in no rush to finish this campaign. Like it's just good fun. And,
I am
Yeah,
back.
I mean,
I like the sandboxy element of it compared to the last campaign. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
oh, we are thoroughly in the sandbox. Definitely. Like that's the one thing with this whole module is that in chapter 3, it's very much like it is open. You can do whatever the fuck you want, which is cool because it means that it just only will build, but you can
Definitely.
create lots more cool shit. Okay. We will quickly take us back to the camp as you'll begin to wake. Now, let's keep things quick. Shamash, you obviously have had an encounter in the evening, in the night. Do you make your party aware? If so,
Yep.
how?
I saw the most strange thing last night. 3 riders riding past. I had words with them. Better say I pass on the information to save time. The strange thing is the last man, as the moon glimmered, I saw his face and a shock of black hair. Greasy black hair reminded me of someone. I don't remember who. Do you remember anyone with greasy black hair who we've encountered? No? Oh well. Hopefully we'll see them in Neverwinter.
Now, this will be your characters remembering, not necessarily just yourselves. So I will allow some of you to make, well,
Checking my notes here.
who would you say remembers people's faces in the party?
Probably not Shamash.
I think that might be a
Weirdly,
Finn thing, but
Yeah, Finnan, yeah.
Finnan's
Finnan or
note
Bungus and all.
taking is pretty terrible. So I could roll a perception or history check there.
Yeah? Give me a history check.
Hell yeah. Hell no.
For a moment, you kind of like,
Oh, hey.
oh, well, there was that one guy, but no, he had brown hair. there was this other guy. Oh no, that was Barrack. Oh yes. You don't remember any description of what Shamash is trying to remember, but there is something. Greasy-haired person. Yeah. Something.
Barry, piss gremlin.
He had hair.
What colour was Weevil's hair?
Yes, Weevil. Yeah, he was a greasy little fucker, if I remember. Just eyes squinting.
Didn't he escape?
Yeah, we
Wasn't
heard
he-
about that.
He was
I mean, he
tiny.
was a gnome, though. He wouldn't look like a human, would he?
No, and I should clarify. Shamash would have recognised it was a human in terms of the size.
Okay.
It was a human person. So Shamash shuts that down immediately.
You'd
If
probably
there is
grow-
no recollection, and I will allow you to pull anything from your own memory bank of notes or anything like that as well. Just a roll would potentially unlock something. If not, then the shit biscuits for you all.
I'll go with a history for Nubs. He's got good history, so might as well give it a swing.
On what basis though? I'm gonna start
He
getting
just
stricter
agrees,
with
yeah.
everyone
Sure,
just
sure,
like
sure.
backing on. If someone fails one history roll, someone can't then just
Right.
be like, "But I also do a
true,
history
actually.
roll." You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
I think like if
Finnan
the,
did it,
hence
so-
hence my question to the group was
Yeah.
who recognizes a face. If Finnan is a person who recognizes a face and that he thinks that's this kind of person, I give him justification for rolling a history check. The same with like Shamash and Abard, in that they were trained and educated. They get potentially more choices on history checks, for example. And the same with like yourself for being a ranger on survival nature checks, for example, like that.
but then that is no, then I won't do it.
I would want to throw in a wild card because Medica does not care about faces or anything, but he cares about money and like things. So he had once brought in like a couple of times brought in a couple of dudes. So he just doesn't care about their names or anything, but he remembers some, like how do you say? Like the marks, so you know who you're looking for, basically.
Characteristics.
Oh, characteristics, yes. So yeah, he remembers some snippets here and there. So I would like to make a history check with disadvantage because my history is -1 anyways.
Okay.
It's like just he doesn't really care, but he just takes that in and rolls.
Sure.
Yeah,
Going in
okay.
for a
That was
strong one.
just a wild card. So yeah, he remembers nothing.
No, you can't. You don't remember any. You can't put any faces to the description of long, greasy black hair, human. No. No, you don't. And particularly with the other descriptions that you would have had, doesn't strike you as a party you would know of or a person that. Now, I would ask that our leader, who is Finnan for today, is make me a D20 roll for the rest of the day's travel. A 2. Could it be good? Could it be bad? Who knows?
You ate
Could it
bad
be
mushrooms,
completely ambivalent and not matter at all?
huh? Ooh.
It is a day of travel, and Finnan, you've already predicted a good day. And your instincts are correct. The sun has risen, the skies are blue. You feel now the smell of salt on the air as you have become closer and closer to the Sword Coast. As well, you see the sway of the old Neverwinter Wood to the east. You can't see it, but you do still see the plume of smoke that is coming out of Mount Hope now to your north, directly. You estimate you're another 2 days' travel away from Neverwinter at this stage. You keep on plodding along the high road. Now, is my mic alright? I can hear something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
pretty
that's fine.
convenient.
Okay, cool.
Like,
Um,
crackles, but you're okay.
Yeah. You start to reach an area of the high road that you're familiar with. It's almost like the sand dunes of the coast have come further and further onto the high, it's closer and closer to the high road, and there is like almost like this valley that the road descends down into. Rising up to your left and the right, there are like these kind of staggered shifts in tiers of this valley, almost as if like this was like an ancient river that had once passed through this area, and as times have gone, the river has laid at different heights, slowly degrading the banks as it descends deeper, and you follow this path through this valley, moving through this kind of Eternit. But the banks are lush. There are trees adorning it, but there are boulders and rocks that kind of fill around this valley. Who's up front?
Me.
Are we still following the same? This Unga. Unga, I would say that you travel at least half a day at this stage. So you're kind of getting to the point where it's time to eat some food. And you're keeping an eye out for places, looking around for places to stop and take a moment for yourselves. But in the valley, you start to round a corner and you make out a reverberating sound through the valley, Unga. You're around kind of 200 or so meters in front of everyone, scouting it out. Roll me a perception check. A 9. With the 9, you're not quite sure what the sound is. You look around, you hear this kind of sound bouncing off the side of the valley. Scanning the surroundings, you see birds moving around, you see little swarms of midge flies floating above berry bushes. And you kind of focus on this sound. You can't make it out. You continue onwards, and you edge slowly around this long one. You open out into this long straight of the valley. And at the end, or at least as far as you can see, you see in the valley, where is just a normal path, there is a barrier. And the barrier is formed from what you can see from this kind of 200-meter distance, are a number of boulders and rocks and what looks to be trees that have come down into the middle of the valley. And you immediately recognize that the sound that you've heard reverberating this valley is the sound of grunts. As you see in front of you, in the middle of the road, this big burly figure kind of pulling at some rocks, and you see another slightly like hood down, but wearing kind of like a travel cloak. It's far away, but enough to make out. They're not hiding, they're in plain sight. And he kind of stands a little bit further back from this blockage in the road. What do you do?
First of all, upon seeing that, I'm gonna try and scan my immediate surroundings to see, to try and see if there's any signs of an ambush.
Roll me a perception check.
Oh, these rolls, what the fuck?
Looking around, you just see the countryside. The valleys are just covered in foliage, trees, bushes. Nothing of any distinction.
Okay. I thinking quick that he's going to need someone with perhaps a slicker tongue than his, I'm going to gallop at full pace back to the caravan and look for Shamash.
Hello.
Yeah, so I guess back at the caravan, just saying, lizard man, blockage ahead. Some people may be moving out of road, maybe moving into road, maybe ambush. You come, we talk.
Hey,
See.
yes, let's go see if we can help, hey?
Everyone else, stay.
Righto, you lead on. Given Smash's horse is attached to the car, obviously he'll have to come with it.
Or hop on the back of the horse.
Or hop on the back of
You
the
could
horse.
ride
Strong
two
horse.
person to a horse for a short while, I think.
Carry a 7-foot caveman and a 7-foot dragon man.
You're 6'1", aren't you?
Oh, I don't know, I can't remember. Dragon born after me tall.
I think he's pretty huge as well.
Whatever, they're
remember.
hefty lads.
Some hefty
Hefty
lads.
lads. Big,
Yeah.
big lads.
Yeah, in that case, we're going to start to sprint back towards these figures in the road.
Okay.
That's not
Right up.
threatening.
Pull up next to them.
So, okay, that's cool. And as you kind of you're going at pace down the valley.
Like a
Or
full
you-
gallop.
Just okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, fair.
Full gallop.
So the sound of the hooves of the horse would be like kind of reverberating through the valley, and as you get closer with kind of like 100 meters, the figure who's kind of watching on with this person who's trying to tug at the boulders, as you get closer, you realize he's actually physically trying to move the boulders out of the way. The person who's looking on, wearing this kind of travel, as you get closer, you realize that he's red skin. He is scaly, and Shamash, you instantly recognize him as another Dragonborn. He kind of spins around, and he doesn't seem phased by the fact that you're approaching, but he also doesn't kind of wave at you or anything like that. And as you get closer and closer, he just looks at you as, I mean, how do you approach as you get closer? Do you stop? Do you circle round? What do you do?
Yeah, come to a skidding halt with the horse rearing up as we finally reach a stop. And then
So-
kind of steadying the horse.
So as you steady your horse, the Dragonborn to the side kind of looks up, and he's like, "Fellow travelers, how are you? It seems as if you have met the same blockage as we have. Why are you in such haste?"
What ho! It's good to see a fellow man of Tamentha. Yes, we saw you up ahead and just wanted to come and check, see if there's anything we could do to help. I see you have your man here pulling at the rocks.
Ah, yes. And he looks at you. "I recognize your voice. Are you the voice from last night?"
Why, no, surely not. Argen Tempercardus?
"The very same." And he bows his head. "Argen
word.
Tempercardis, you are Shamash Venkinkabradon. My
Aye.
fellow, I did not realize that you were a Dragonborn. It is a pleasure to meet another from the Enclave."
And you, there's not many of us around these parts. Pray, you seem to have slowed down quite considerably compared to last night.
Well, indeed, we decided that we must take some rest. We awoke the other side of this valley, where you have just probably come from around the corner. And here we are, and the road has gone to shit. Not many people travelling through here these days. No one keeping tender of it. Muddergog
Surely
here
you're-
is trying to remove some of the boulders and you kind of see this figure just like pulling. He's covered in tattoos, as he's trying to pull it away. However, I fear that my coin is not for him to move these objects, as he kind of stares into the back of the head of this hulking figure.
Surely your horses could just get around them if you were in such a hurry. Or the
I'm
boulders
afraid-
actually pretty.
No, yeah. The boulders are kind of really covering up the valley, and the valley itself is pretty treacherous in the way that all the foliage, the hedge, all of the bushes and everything have grown around it. It is not an easy maneuverable pass.
Unger dismounts and hands Shamash the reins, holding onto them for just a second as Shamash tries to take them. He resists Shamash taking them to meet eye contact, almost giving me a look like, look after this fucking horse.
No melting.
And he's gonna, without saying anything, try and wander over to one of the boulders and pull it out.
Style.
Roll me a strength check as you go over to the boulder.
Come on. It's not bad. It's be worse.
Now,
That's
there are multiple boulders piled on him. You're able to quite quickly grab on and start to shift out of the way. But even you, Uncle, realize that these are fucking heavy pieces of rock. These aren't just like pieces that you're able to shift out of the way. And looking at Mudagog, he is built in a similar way to you. And you can see how he is struggling. You even feel like you may have tweaked your back slightly and tried to pull this rock away, but you do manage to move it out of the way. But you know deep down you're not going to be able to be doing that for the whole block.
You know, I quickly ask the rest of the
Now,
caravan.
yeah.
Sorry.
So
Are we still
are we?
approaching or just weren't?
So I think I got the opinion that the caravan was quite separate from these two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
I've been
allow
told to
you.
stay, I think.
So he's told you to stay. So I wouldn't say that you're necessarily visible of this right now.
So we're probably just hunkering down. No, it's just so I want to know what we're up to. Cool. All right. Apologies.
Shamash will say to Arjan, there are others in our party who could help move the rocks. Otherwise, if you were all to move away, I could make quick work of them myself. But you'd have to put your hands over your ears.
Well, if you have friends, then bring them forth. I have some pipeweed in my knapsack that I'm able to pull us out. Maybe we may have a smoke together, and we can travel north together if indeed your destination is the same as ours. As you say last night, Tarmaloon Trade House awaits us.
Aye, that would be fine. Perhaps Unger here, he's a man of few words, will take you across there so they don't know you're not a threat, while I have a quick go on these boulders. Unger, will you take them to the caravan?
Yes. Now get off horse.
Yes, you may have your horse. Smash slides down sheepishly.
Unger hops back on and motions with its head for the hooded figure to follow him as he trots back up the road.
And once they're kind of out of a safe distance, Shamash will cast Shatter on, well, I guess a 20-foot, well, 10-foot radius or 20-foot circumference. No, diameter of
Circumference.
rocks. And shatter
Fair
them.
route.
Okay. So, as that happens, so I'd imagine that you encourage Mudagog to move back, so he's not getting captured in the blast. But indeed, your shatter spell reverberates down onto the rock, and breaks the boulders into several smaller pieces, like many more smaller pieces. Now, it still causes a blockade in front of you, but it is all broken into smaller, more manageable pieces. And yeah, with that, it seems more manageable. Mudgog kind of looks at you, gives you a nod, and he walks over to the pile and begins to take some of the smaller rocks and moves them to the side, starting to make work on the small pile. Unger, as you escort Arjan over towards the caravan, we'll say for the sake of it, just slightly around the bend, not too far. You're able to make it in a few minutes walk, but the rest of you would see as Unger walks around the corner with a different dragonborn. And I pass to you.
Not recognizing at all it's a different dragonborn, Abard waves. Shamash!
Arjan kind of looks. Yes. We are not all alike, my friend. However, I know that we may seem similar. Come, we have work for you all. Some pipeweed is in it for you.
Abard's gonna hold position by the door of the wagon.
Hearing the word pipeweed, Nubs pricks up and goes, yeah? Oh, well, I think we can help this scaly fellow, can't we, chaps?
Medica says nothing, but he's not making
nothing.
any move.
Unger, looking at the party, says, "He's right. Roadblock. We can help. No way round. We must rue it."
So with that, we can advance the caravan down through the valley, getting closer to everyone. Now, in terms of seeing the blockage and everything around you, what do you do with the caravan? Do you keep it close? Do you keep it at a distance? Do you stay on it? What do you do?
Abard is standing, well, on horseback with his greatsword over his shoulder by the door of the wagon. He's guarding it.
Okay.
Medica is kind of halfway between the blockage and the cart, not doing anything to help.
Okay, so you're looking on.
Unger's gonna start help chucking the rocks aside.
Okay, anyone else? Anything else?
Mash has
Finland.
metaphorically rolled up his sleeves as well and is just hauling rock.
Finnan is gonna summon some AP boys
Oh
to
yeah.
help with the stone shifting.
Now, I'd imagine with that, Arjan is like, God, it's a good thing you all showed up. I'm afraid Metagog is not the best at this kind of thing, but the fact you brought apes with you, fantastic.
Turn around and
Now,
say, the finest in the land.
Nubs is going to saunter on up to Argog, just say to him, sort of like slightly, his eyes like slightly sort of almost coming like at odd angles out of his skull. Just say to him, "You want to see a magic trick?" As he pulls out an arrow with a piece of dynamite attached. Bill.
Oh god.
Arjan kind of looks down at what you pull out and he says, "My friend, a smoke first, surely.
Put that match away now, friend. This thing ain't safe around fire. All right, a quick puff on the pipe first," he says, he puts the arrow back in the sheath. "What sort of pipe weed do you have with you there, my friend? I'm a bit of a connoisseur myself."
Something
Yeah,
of the
I
type
expect
you
it.
smoke myself.
My friend, I got this from Waterdeep itself. I must admit that I am not a connoisseur of types, but I am told that this is some of the South Lynch that has come out of Waterdeep as of late.
Yes,
I-
yes. Do you mind if I have a sniff? Says Nubs.
Absolutely, and and I'd imagine that there are two horses to the side, and Arjan walks over and he goes and feels in the saddlebag, and he pulls out this pouch and he brings it over and have a whiff of this, my friend. Have a whiff of this.
Oh, all right then. Yes. Can I roll a perception on the
Yeah, absolutely.
pipe
Or a
yourself.
nature, or how
Let's
perception.
go just for a perception of sort of like
It smells good. It smells very good.
oh,
Rich.
I haven't had a smoke in days. Go on then. Says let's fill our pipes here, old boy. Pops out his temporary pipe that he's made, created of half a shell of an acorn and a little reed of pipe grass that he's managed to push through it. Like this will work for one go at least, I think.
So, sorry, you pulled out a pipe.
Yeah, my last pipe exploded, so he's made one out of a small half of an acorn, and he's pushed a little bit of like a tube of like a very thick straw. It's almost woody-like the straw, from, like reed grass through it to make a rudimentary pipe where some tobacco can sit and burn. He can suck the smoke back. It's not going to be
Okay.
the best smoker ever. It'll probably burn up after one go, but he's still.
That's cool. Arjan pulls out a thumbful and he plonks it into the edge of your homemade pipe, and he flicks his fingers and blows, and a tiny little jet of flame goes down onto your pipe, and he lights it with his breath.
Oh,
Very clever. He says. Oh, wait. Pipe.
Now,
Oh.
out of play, real quick, time
Sure.
check for people. What people got?
I've got no work tomorrow, so I can go for it on for as long as people want to.
Yeah, I'm good
I
to go
would
on.
probably have to go to bed pretty soon because it's 11 o'clock
Okay.
now. I do have work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
that's
like
cool.
to come with Joe because I've been pretty irresponsible lately, so I want to go to bed early.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's okay, that's cool. Now,
How's that? Whack
With-
you back here.
so you take a deep drag, and it is rich. It is flavorful. I don't know if you ever smoked drum, rolling tobacco, but it is like
Drum.
thick, deep drum tobacco.
Make me want to smoke now.
God damn, I want a
Oh.
rolly now.
yeah.
You're all just going about buying some
I've not had a
cigarettes from
rolly in
Steve,
so long. And you take it back, and Nubs, I imagine your nose like rustles like back and forth, like, and you let it
builds
let
from
out.
Numbs's
You
toes
yeah.
and it brushes all the way up his body and into his ears and tickles as it rolls up his spine. He goes, "Oh, lovely."
And you let out a deep, long breath. And Arshan kind of nods at you. I am glad that it has come to connoisseurs. It is good to share, friends. And although we may be finding ourselves in this pickle, as he points to the barricade, it is good to be with new friends. And
The new friend, says Nubs, holding his pipe up.
And I'd imagine that Arjan kind of passes his pouch of tobacco around. Please, please, share. Let us remove this barricade and we may smoke together. And I'd say that within the next couple of minutes, as you all start to become more relaxed around each other. Unless anyone has any deeper reason to not.
Medica is not
Abard-
relaxed.
Abard doesn't
Everyone.
No.
doesn't feel the situation vibes, so he remains very staunchly on his horse, and he has not taken no wacky tobacco.
Medica does not. He just does not trust new people. So no.
Okay.
Finnan is
Shamash
inhaling
also
deeply.
So Finnan and Nubs are token ahoy. Shamash, how about you?
tell me, Arjan, you talk about new friends, but what of old friends? For surely there was a third with you last night in your party. A man with greasy dark hair, whose face seemed strangely familiar.
A third. Ah, yes. There was a third. Yes, indeed. He travelled with us for a way, but he had to take another path. He was called on other urgent business to the east. He headed back on himself. He headed back down towards Tribal. Other pressing business. Unfortunately, he could not join us.
Ah, 'tis strange we did not see him. Tell me, what was his name? For his face was familiar to me.
His name was Thilden.
Dildon. And what business took him away, pray? Old friend.
Apparent instruction. He was asked to take some word of order for new wood for these barricades that they are building in Tribal.
Ah.
A new stock intake, I hear.
And he received these instructions on the road. How curious. Surely we would have seen the messenger coming behind us.
Ah, well, that is the thing, my friend. Who we work for, we use different methods of communication. I don't know if you have ever used a flying snake before, but it is something we use common.
Flying snake, you say? Why, we know someone in possession of one of them.
Indeed. And who might that be?
His name is Zolkin.
Tolkien.
Perhaps you know him.
Aye. And his expression changes slightly. I have met Tolkien before. Tell me, as he kind of walks over down towards your own caravan. You tell me you work for the Fandelver Mining Company, but you do not look like miners.
Finnan turns and looks down at himself. And goes,
Other than
young man.
Other than
Abard in
you.
Dwarvish says, "What do you mean by that, my good man?"
Arjan looks at you as he doesn't understand a word you have said to him.
I say to Arjan, we work for a mining company. We never say we miners.
Surely you've seen by our rock-breaking skills here today that this is actually something we have a knack for, perhaps.
Indeed, but it seems strange that 6 of you are guarding something so small. Tell me, what are you transporting for the mining company?
Oars? There's only 2 of us actually transporting it. The rest are just along for the ride for some R&R and Neverwinter.
Roll me a deception check.
Bear with me. Yes.
Good job, Finnan.
Arjan stares at you as you kind of take another token with the pipe weed that he's given you, and you splutter out the smoke. Arjan looks at you deeply and looks around at the rest of you. All in for the ride, eh?
My good man, what we transport is nothing but a shipment of Nunya.
Nunya.
None of your business, my good man. But, like, this sprouts out full of his
And
sword.
the rest of the party goes, "Oh!"
Sword over his shoulder.
Like that now, Abard. You might give him ligma.
Okay.
Listen,
We just we just bring or just plain old boring or anyway more about your travels. You said
I
you were
think
in a
we can tell
terrible
him, boys.
hurry
this
to
guy seems trustworthy. His pipe is good. Look, the ore we transport is silver ore. Okay, you know the value of silver. We have to protect it. That's why we're all miners. We're a ragtag bunch of guys just defending the silver ore. Okay?
No, but you shouldn't have told him this.
I think we can
Alas,
trust this fella.
Arjan, you've seen through us. You've seen through our trick. We can trust you not to tell others about the silver ore we transport. It's unrefined, so there's still plenty of admixture. Still.
Well, it's mostly rock still, yes, but, you know, has some value nonetheless.
Arjan kind of just listens to you all talking between yourselves, and for a moment he takes you in. And he gives a look over your shoulder, Nubs, who he's looking at directly right now. You don't really know what he's looking at. You kind of turn around and you see he's looking upwards, up into the valley. And he turns back to the caravan and just stares at it. Strange, nonetheless.
Why's that?
My friends, I'm sorry that it has come to this, but I'm afraid I've not been fully truthful with you. And he looks over at Mudagog and he nods. And Mudagog clicks his fist. And Arjan Tempokardis looks over at the blockage in the road. And he mutters a word.
You don't have to do this, Arjan, says Nubs, stepping backwards, putting one hand behind his back. Still got the pipe in hand.
And with that, Arjan lets out some deep, foul speech. And he raises his hands, and behind the rest of you, as the orangutans and the apes and Unger are pulling away the rocks, pulling away, you reveal this large tree trunk that is embedded in the road behind the rocks. And on it, 2 pillars of flame emerge, and atop the rock behind this rock pile, 2 skinless dogs with vicious black teeth, bared, snarling, and snap. And within their eyes, there are no eyes. It is pure fire. They lower their stance quickly, as if ready to pounce. And then Arjan looks at you, Nubs, and Finnan as he stares at you as he drops the pouch of tobacco on the floor. Mining company, prepare to die. And we will pick up there next week.
Oh shit!
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
What a
I will say Medical
What a
will
twist.
roll in this initiative with advantage. He was so ready for this.
I would say Abard similar.
Yeah.
I
We'll
would say
come to that
both
next week.
Abard and Medica will roll at advantage. Yeah, absolutely.
fair.
Nubs is stepping back and like sort of reading his tone gets him anything to remember the pipe. I just want everyone to remember he has a lit pipe in his hand and a hand behind his back. He's reaching for something.
No, he's experiencing the tobacco high, so he's not.
Tobacco cloud.
Yeah, so he's
I like
not.
to think Finnan has started coughing and about to whitey in shock and horror.
Shamash just feels totally betrayed that the first Dragonborn he's seen in months happens to be a total dick. Like, for fuck's
Nubs
sake.
is also another prick as well, but then also no more generally pricks anyway.
So yeah,
Oh, sick.
We will
Genuinely
resume
excited.
on the cusp of battle
Just,
in this valley against Arjan Tempicardis and Mudagog.
The Valley of Death.
Two fire-born dogs. But yes, we will resume from there.
Woo!
Awesome. Thanks, boys.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, dude. That was good fun.
that was different. We wanted to get faster, but something happened.
I think we all learned a lot about necromancy. Or
Yeah.
death magic, whatever.
Yeah,
not
it's
good
not
to,
great.
to do it, really, most of the
Not
time.
great. We're down 2 horses.
It ain't great.
We
All
got
down 2 horses.
Horse tally went
Finnan's
up.
down nearly 200 gold pieces.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah,
He's,
about
he's,
that
he's
his
repaid
fault.
himself.
about that 40 gold that you got from Abard the other week.
Wait, that was one fair and square, and you.
And to think, all I asked was, is there anything you do as you leave Fandolin?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know.
You got to beef up travel somehow, haven't you?
Stuff happened.
Pass the time.
we developed a bit of party-based lore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, I'm just gonna say now for the rest of the year, I'm just trying to figure out basically where we're at.
Oh, yeah.
Because so we'll have a session next week. Big battle against Arjan next week. The week following that is the 22nd, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to be traveling for, so I can't do that. What's the likelihood of the 29th, people?
I have no plans on the 29th.
Yes, it's good.
I got no plans on the 29th.
I've got no plans on the 29th.
I'll be travelling back to Sweden on the 30th. I will be in the UK. Probably should be okay, but I maybe. Yeah,
Well-
I'll double check that for you. How's that?
Yeah. Let us know when you can,
Yeah.
and then we can figure out the next session. Because we'll have next week. I think yeah, that's cool.
Clear for me, just as a thing.
See if there's a viable day in the week of the 19th, or is that a bit too Christmassy?
What you mean in terms of bringing it
19th.
forward potentially?
Yeah,
so
like
doing it before the Thursday.
Oh right.
The
I can't
Wednesday
do-
I'm cooked because it's my dad's birthday, but
Yeah, I can't do the 20th. So the only day I could do is the
Oh,
19th.
Mm.
19th would be hard. I won't be at home. I'll be in
Yeah.
Stockholm, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm travelling the 19th.
Skip the
as well,
week then.
Yeah, it's just.
I think we say let's skip that week. Let's check on the 29th. Technically, it's fine for me.
It's
Although I
looking good
will
for
be
me.
in
Yeah, I think I should be okay.
We could organise another big day session January.
In person.
I was gonna
session,
say it would be great to do another session. I personally would love to do the party in person, like the big
Yep.
gathering
Oh,
of the
cool.
minds,
Yeah.
if possible. But we'll have to see how that aligns.
Yeah, I have a couple weekends off in January that I can't do, but
Okay.
should be able to do some.
Why don't people go into the calendar to like tomorrow or the day after and update their availability and signal any weekends that might work and then
Yeah.
days in between? Particularly for that first week of Jan. I think. Oh no, the
People
first
are
week of
extending it.
January as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
so it's
what
just whether or not we can do the 29th. I'm not sure I'll be able to do it because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in Dorset. So we might just have to take 2 weeks off.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But if we can then pick us back up and then potentially do a day sesh, that's also fine with. Then let's do. If everyone can just go and update the calendar, like over the next couple of days, and then we'll figure out what we've got. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Polishing off my notes here. Okay, done.
Nice.
Nice
Yeah,
one,
thanks again,
boys.
guys. I really enjoyed
Yeah, that was excellent
Yeah.
time.
as usual.
This you cannot write these things. This just
Sorry
happens.
for the amount of shit housing, but
No.
Always the way.
And to remind you that nothing would have happened if you didn't cast that last spell, because Medica wouldn't have cared. But you struck him,
Yeah.
and that angered him.
I think that's fair. I also think it's law correct for Finnan just to be like, it keeps doing mad stuff. I want to play with it more.
Andy, did you get tickets for that Trivium gig in the end?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I might still do. I was trying to figure out what date is it.
Sunday the 15th of Jan. So just thinking if we were together, that
Yeah.
14th could be viable. Assuming that's a weekend that works for others.
What for a day sesh?
Yeah.
I've got to go to my grandma at some point, but I don't know when. It'll be one weekend in January.
Yeah, we could do that, Sam. Yeah, I haven't booked tickets. I can book tickets though.
You.
I don't mind crashing on your floor. That's fine.
It would
Is
be
it
on
a
the floor, 'cause- Oh,
no,
shit.
that's fine.
Oh, no, tell you what. We wouldn't be able to D&D because I think Dan's going to come up the day before. So
Yeah,
couldn't do
well,
that
that's fine.
D&D, but yeah.
But I'm still keen for the gig. If it's on a Sunday, because I would just work from London on the Monday. Tie in my train ticket.
Nice.